Christian, hello. Do you speak English? How much? Christian, can we do a quick comms check? Because I'm not getting any clear feed. Really not good.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You can do it.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Be careful.
Yeah.
Okay. No cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
네, 그럼 지금 돌아가야 될 거예요, 아마도. 헤드?
What's that? Well, yeah, they should. They can check in with the desk. There's the schedule of events there, so there's not that many heats, so it should be quite straightforward. And then they can check on the link too.
problem.
No problem.
This. Go home.
Yeah.
I need this and this.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and we have a pin.
Good luck.
You are champion.
Thank you.
You're very calm. Very calm.
Thank you.
Relax.
자, 프로 선수분들 안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 프로 단거리 남자부 선수들, 여자부 선수들 모두 집중해 주시기 바랍니다. 지금 바로 피니시 라인 앞쪽으로 집중해 주시면 대단히 감사하겠습니다. 프로 단거리 남자부, 여자부 선수 모두 피니시 라인 앞으로 집결해 주시기 바랍니다.
Two champion on this one. Two champion. 1, 2.
You can do it.
Trying to get everything sorted out. Being broadcast, we're making sure everybody's on the same page.
Aloha and welcome to the Busan Open here in Korea. It's a major moment here for Korean stand-up paddling. It's exciting to be in Asia for the World Tour. We've got a beautiful weekend on our hands. We've got some amazing athletes traveled from all over the world to come here, and obviously an excited Korean contingent. And I'm joined in the booth today by Candice Appleby, none other than Candice Appleby, well, much known as the Queen of SUP. So they're excited to have her in the booth with us too, or remotely in the booth. Candice, how are you doing this morning? Or evening, rather, for you?
I'm great. It is past my bedtime over here, but I'm excited to watch the action and call some of it with you, Kristen. It's going to be a lot of fun. So.
Awesome. Well, you're not here in person, but it's an amazing atmosphere here. A lot of excitement about this event. The setup is pretty insane. It's a major full-scale event. We've had all kinds of participation through the day with kids and amateurs and SCP yoga and a really, really cool opening ceremony that kind of set the stage for the event. So exciting stuff. And we're just coming off London. Unfortunately, you weren't able to be there after a great start to the season, but it was an amazing event over there. Were you able to see any of the highlights and see what happened over there?
Yeah, it was great. It was so much fun watching the men and women and, mixing up in the lead and the winners, some new winners on the board, which is really exciting to see. So I'm excited to see how those athletes fare here in Korea on the third stop. I've got some of my favorites that I'm cheering on, and it's going to be fun to watch them go head-to-head today in the sprints.
Awesome. Well, before we take a little bit more of a look at what happened in London, we're going to throw down to Holly Morsi on the beach, who's given us a sight direct from the action.
Hello and welcome to Gwangali Beach, Busan, Korea. The sun is shining and the festivities today have been incredible. We've had stand-up yoga, we've had kids sprints, we've had open sprints, and the beach has been full of vibrant stand-up paddlers. It's been amazing so far. Now we turn to the main event of the weekend, which is the professional APP World Tour sprints. The athletes are currently getting briefed, getting ready to go, and it really is truly amazing conditions out here. So everyone is very excited. There's people lining the beaches ready to watch. The kids that have just competed are so excited to watch the pros, and to be honest, I'm so excited too. Let's go back to you guys in the studio and let's go.
Thank you, Holly. Great to see what's happening down there. It's an amazing moment for stand-up paddling over here. Our team has done such an amazing job getting this going and really setting the stage for stand-up paddling here in Korea for the future. But we're going to take a look back to the last stop, which wasn't that long ago. It was about 5 days ago. We were in the city of London. And a pretty momentous moment in history with the Queen passing away, sadly. But what a celebration of her life and legacy that it was.
I'm good to leave, Christian?
And the AP were to do just that and celebrate our life and legacy in a unique way. So we can go through some highlights from London. Pretty amazing moment out there for sure.
수식하는 해주신 후에 이제 다시 저기 오른쪽에 보이는 몬스터 국도에서
So you can see some of the sprint. So this is some of the sprint action. It was an alternative venue because we had to move. Unfortunately, Canary Wharf decided during the period of mourning they didn't want to hold the event at our original venue, it was going to be spectacular. So a bit of disappointing, but at the same time, Dockland Sailing and Water Sports Centre stepped up and were able to provide us a home for the sprint racing, and we had some spectacular action, really close finishes and tight racing by all the pros. It really was a spectacular day of action. Candice, does this make you want to be out there and racing yourself?
Yeah, of course. I get excited watching these guys go head to head. That finish with Shrimpy there was pretty intense, kind of getting cut off under the finish arch. And these women, I mean, they are so fast. It's so exciting to see those young girls like Caroline Kutzel coming up. Not long ago she was just a Grom, and now she's going head to head with the women. So it's going to be exciting to see her today as well.
So that was a glimpse of the sprints. Obviously, we had this amazing distance race as well down the River Thames. I know you've done that race as well, Candice, passing all the major London monuments. It was pretty special and particularly special this year with thousands of people lining the waterfront, lining up for some of them between 13 and 15 hours to go pay their tribute to the Queen. But it actually built in a full spectator environment for us, with them pretty excited to see the stand-up paddlers go past the Houses of Parliament, all the major monuments over there.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. I was kind of sorry to miss it, but what an incredible thing to be able to paddle in the Thames. These athletes are, traveling the world and experiencing these different places from the water. I remember when we were in Paris a few years ago, paddling past Notre Dame. It's a pretty unique experience that this tour is taking athletes all over the world to paddle in these crazy historic cities, and these venues are just insane. And now we have Korea, which is, obviously wish I was there with you guys, but happy to be there virtually with you today. And tell me a little bit about Tristan. Tell me a little bit about this venue. Maybe let's share some information about the conditions with the spectators at home.
Sorry, a little bit about the venue here.
Yeah, the conditions. It looks like we've got a little bit of moving water out there. So for everyone at home, it's, somewhat ocean conditions, right?
Absolutely. Actually, it's relatively calm. What you're looking at now is the corner of the bay where it's sort of refracting off the wall. Here you've got a little bit of bump coming into the shore. We're definitely going to, obviously, to be the best guys, be able to take advantage of that small bump. But fairly flat conditions here in Gwangalea Beach, with that amazing bridge in the background. It really is incredibly iconic. I think it's going to be. Sorry, go on.
Oh, that shot that you just had on the screen there a moment ago, it looked like there was a little deep water in the shore, and then maybe a sandbar. I don't know if the camera can go back to that last angle of the buoys, but are you familiar with what the bottom is like right there for the start of the race? Is there maybe a little bit of an inshore hole that could...
It's a little challenging bottom. There's definitely some holes of sand there where it goes from sort of waist deep to shoulder deep. So, athletes are going to be wanting to push as far as they can to the shore without obviously grounding and going over the handlebars. So I think it's going to be get some strategy with that coming off.
All right. I think that was Shrimpy in the background there, the Okinawan getting ready, getting nice and warmed up. He's definitely one of my favorites to watch these days. Watching him come into his own, it's pretty neat. I got a chance to talk with his father out in the Carolina Cup about his training regimen, and I said, "Hey, are you writing his training program?" He's like, "Oh no, we just train. We just do what the day tells us to do." So if it's, if it's windy, we downwind. If there's waves, we go ride waves. If it's, flat, we lay net and catch fish. And it's really, really cool to see a young man like that coming from Okinawa and just crushing it and training a very holistic approach with his father, very much waterman lifestyle. Really, really neat to see.
Definitely, Candace. Actually, it's funny. They're definitely taking it very seriously this year. They're coming in early to each of the stops. He was in London training on the Thames down at Putney. He was here early, really getting early training in. I know he was disappointed with his performance in London. He's certainly one of the bright stars of the future. But I think I think he's just turned 16 potentially. So he's got a giant future ahead of him.
Wow. And so what do we have on tap here today, Tristan? We've got the women's round 1 coming up first.
Yes. So we'll be alternating between the rounds. We'll be starting with women's round 1, going straight into men's round 1, then into the repachage for both women and men, and then into kind of semi-final format, consolation finals and finals. So it's going to be a fast-paced, action-packed affair. Obviously looking at the women's field, Candace, I'd love to hear your thoughts about coming up against April Zilg. Obviously she's been the on-form athlete this year, just really dominating everywhere she's gone. How is it competing against her in Santa Monica?
Yeah, April is amazing. It's been really cool to get to know her and just watch her grow as an athlete. I've known her, from competing together for almost a decade, and she's someone that has really put in a lot of really diligent work, almost into a very scientific approach, actually. She's very intelligent. She's got a master's degree in science, and it's just great to see her be successful, to see her put in that diligent work over the years, and then now she's really coming to her own and she's dominating. She's dominating the world. And so it's pretty awesome. She actually came out and stayed with me in California before Santa Monica. So we hung out, we were friends, and it was nice. She cooked me dinner every once in a while. We got to train together a little bit and compete together. So it's really great to see her be so successful, and she's just such a go-getter and, really intelligent businesswoman, pushing her new athlete agenda, which is a great journal for athletes that want to set goals for themselves and track their progress. Definitely check out April's athlete agenda. And while she was out in California, I was able to host her with my Ocean Academy for a nice little nutrition discussion, and it was a pretty cool turnout, and she got to share a lot of her knowledge about how to fuel herself for training, and so that was great.
Awesome. Well, it's going to be great to see April back in action. She had another good result in London, just got ahead of Esperanza Barreras, who's kind of her European equivalent at the moment, really doing damage over there. But Espe was able to come back and force in the distance and put a really dominating performance on. But April's got 3 wins out of 4 for the 2 sprints and 2 distances. So definitely she is the woman to beat this year.
Yeah, if I was a betting woman, I would say that April has a pretty great start and a pretty great shot for the rest of the season. She's super focused, super fit, and she's just got her eyes on the prize. And there's something to be said about momentum, and she definitely has it. And I don't think she's planning on stopping anytime soon. So it's going to be fun to watch her and see how she does today. We got a few other gals that are gonna definitely want to give her a run for money in the sprints here. I know that young Juliette Duhame, she loves the sprint, and she does pretty well in the moving water, right, as opposed to just the straight flat water. So I think she's gonna have a really good shot, especially with these running starts and the technical buoy turns. And then Caroline Goodsell, she's another wonderful sprinter who's been really putting in a lot of work, hyper-focusing on sprinting. That has become kind of her forte. So it's going to be exciting to see her. I'm not as familiar with some of the local athletes, but also, Chloe Walkerding, the Australian, she is coming back from having not been on tour for a few years and looking fitter than ever. So I'm excited to see what Chloe's going to do in these sprints as well. So ladies are going to put on a show.
Absolutely, and yeah, it's, as you say, great to have Chloe back. I think, like many Australians, she was a little landlocked there for a couple of years, But it's great to see them being able to get out and travel and make it to the events, because they, as a country, they're definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, in any sport, especially when there's water and a board.
Exactly. And Candice, obviously, hopefully, we're going to see you in action later on this year in Paris and Alicante. And I know the ISA Worlds is coming up in November in Puerto Rico, which will be a great event too, right?
Yeah, ISA Worlds is coming up. That is my focus right now, training for that. That's a Pan American qualifier, so I'm at home getting ready. I'm going to be SUP surfing and doing technical racing in that event. And then also focus on coaching with my Ocean Academy program. I run a training club, which we have training at 7:30 tomorrow, you guys. So if you're sitting up watching this right now, you should go to bed, because I'm not going to take it easy on you in the morning. But yeah, it's been great being home and getting on the water every day, coaching and training. And so I'm just being a little bit selective of where I decide to travel, because I have a lot of athletes here that I'm coaching, and if I'm gone all the time, then I can't help them continue to improve. So that's been my main focus. But there's been a little fire lit back under me, and I'm getting back in the zone and kind of getting real excited to get on the line at the ISAs, and then maybe catch some of the APP events on the back end of the schedule this year. And maybe you'll see me in Gran Canaria. We'll see.
Well, I hope so, Candice. As we saw April Zilg getting ready for battle there. We've got Heat, one of the women, coming up pretty shortly here.
And looks like she's getting ready. And April rides for 404. She's not a starboard rider, so I'm wondering, was there some sort of issue with board transportation getting aboard to Korea for her? Because I know she really she works with Danny Ching in 404, and she typically is on the new jump design, which she has been faring well with. You know anything about the board situation for April coming into this event?
I do. Thank you for bringing that up. I was just about to preface that before we got underway. We obviously had a tight turnaround coming from London to Korea. Everything was well oiled and ready to go, but unfortunately the Queen passing had a big impact on London. It was declared a national holiday on Monday, and that was the booked window for us to get the boards out here. We battled all week to get them here, and unfortunately the earliest they could get here was Sunday evening, so obviously too late for the racing. So we had to take some pretty quick measures to get everybody covered, and thankfully a lot of the brands that support these athletes understood that their athletes are here to compete, that they want them to compete. So you will see some athletes on different boards today. I know the Infinity team will be well covered with the local importer providing some boards. Starboard, obviously, a very strong presence here in Korea, and they've provided a lot of the boards. And then NSP, there's a couple of boards, so covering the NSP riders as well. So not ideal, obviously, as an athlete, you want to be able to ride your own board, but in some respects, everybody's in the same boat. And we're doing the best of it. And it was an unfortunate situation, and a testament to kind of the unprecedented situation that happened in England.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, Tristan, I'm going to bounce past the names of these other two competitors to you, so you can call this. We got April Zilg. She's going to be in the red jersey, and then in the white. Give me a hand here with this one, because you're in Korea. You've got a little more experience with the names, so I'm going to let you take the lead on this one.
Absolutely. We have Lim Soo Jung, and we have Jun Ji Jin. Sorry, and please excuse my terrible pronunciation in Korean. It's not the easiest language to get used to. We would say Gwangali Beach, but it's Gwangali, I think, is how you pronounce it. But yeah, in this first heat, we got a couple of Koreans taking on the current ratings leader, Lim Soo Jung and Jun Ji In.
We got Juliet there, Juliet Duhame. She's doing a little dynamic stretching. She was in the red jersey back there. She's another fast one that I've actually been working with her a little bit, helping her with some of her training programs. So I'm excited to see how things are going to go for her today. She's currently second in the world, having finished third last weekend in London. Looks like these girls are getting ready, these women. Yep, they're going to step up onto the line, front foot on the line. It's going to be a running start here, and they'll wait for Anthony, the race director. We'll say racers under starters orders, and then the horn will blow with any time within when he says that. So you'll notice some of the girls are resting, right? They're waiting, which is really smart to do. You don't want to just stand there and hold your board the whole time. Your arm's going to get tired, your forearm's going to cramp, it's going to affect the way that you paddle. So it's good to just set the board down for a minute, rest, keep an eye on the race director, make sure he's not going to catch you off guard, and then if you want to save that energy in between, you don't want to just stand there holding that big 14-foot board if you don't have to. All right, so women's round one, heat one.
And as you can see, they really are just so excited to have the APP World Tour here in Busan, South Korea. You know, it's been such an amazing welcome. I know, Candice, you've experienced being in Japan and the extent that the people go to make you feel at home. I have to say, here in Korea, it's that again, and maybe even more. Their welcome here has been just unbelievable. Really taking care of the athletes and making them feel
all right, here we
special.
go.
So here we
and we got a nice running start. Let's see how they take off on this inshore hole. Nice skim. April right to her feet. All the girls doing a really great job getting right to their feet. And off to an impressive lead here. April is making her way. They're going to take a right turn around this fifth buoy. We got a nice drone shot there. April has a little bit slower cadence. She's really powerful, and she really relies on all of that muscle. She is a strong woman, so she goes a little bit slower in cadence, gets a little bit more power. Here we go. She's going to do a nice cross bow pivot turn around this buoy. That's a turn with one step back, cross bowing over the nose, increasing her rate as she comes around that buoy. Oh, the second rider has a little bit of a spill, and it looks like in blue, working her way around the outside. They're going to be neck and neck now. April has a nice big gap. You notice she has a really great stroke technique. Now she's going to come in here and do a pivot turn, nice little cross step back, sweeping nice and low. And she's going to run back up the board. Nice little bobble there, but she recovers. The water is textured. Here we go. We got White was able to recover from that spill, and she's coming around the buoy here. Nice little pivot turn. Those buoys are big, and they like to bounce back against you, so you got to play it real safe. Nice footwork running up the board. Blue, nice and smooth as well. And this is a challenging course because you have these little side swells with the wind coming at you as you're trying to turn around this big old buoy. So these ladies are making it look really good. See, we got April coming around for her final turn. Little low angles, J strokes there. Little step back, step forward. And now she's probably going to turn it off a little bit because she knows that she is clearly in lead of this one. And she'll want to start to flush some of that out. So you can see her here just still powering through, but taking a little bit off. She's in the clear here, and she's going to take this win and go and recover, get ready for the next round. And way to go, April. Nice, smooth run of this sprint course on a board that she doesn't even normally paddle. Nice exit off the board, running it all the way up to the shore. Well done, April. Let's see. We've got White and Blue still out on the course somewhere. And it looks like it's going to be the rider in White. Make it over that little, looks like there's a little hole there. Nice dismount. She's gonna jog up the beach. We got the caddies here. They're gonna take the boards out of the way.
No way. We're not going live yet.
All right, well done. Well done. Oh, and there's that inshore hole that I thought I saw through the water there. That's something that's gonna probably play a factor here. You notice there's a darker water there, and then there's a light sandbar. Watch out, you want to put your board over the top of that inshore hole, but she was bounced right through that. All right, here we go. Heat one is in the books.
And Candice, as you said,
okay, Christian, I'm here with April.
Definitely is going to cause some problems for the heat. The
standing by.
Just as April did there, was to get all the way to the sand and step off rather than trying to jump off early and run, because those holes are real. Definitely not.
Yeah, Definitely, it's important to always do a bottom check. I'm constantly telling my athletes, when you have a race, you got to check the bottom where you're going to start. You got to check the bottom where you're going to finish if the finish is in a different location, and you need to check it multiple times throughout the day. The tide can change, things can be different. There might be a rock right in front of where you want to paddle, and you got to make sure that you move it out of the way. Or sometimes there's a clump of seaweed. You know, you got to go out there and move it so you're not going to get stuck on it. So we're going to see, this is going to be interesting to see how many athletes jump off early, because there is a little bit of a sandbar that you can see, and there might be some, oh, I want to try out run the next guy, but not going to happen if you're falling in that inshore hole. So you got to be careful there.
Definitely a challenge. We're going to throw down to Holly Maudsley for a quick interview with April Zill.
So I'm here with the He1 winner, April. April, that was a quite comfortable win. How was that?
I felt fantastic. Definitely feeling the jet lag and the 12 hours off of schedule, but you know, it's just a warm, beautiful, sunny day, and it's hard to not feel good on the water.
So you say the jet lag, are you feeling that a little bit on the water?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's not reflected in my heart rate. Like, everything going on inside is the same. It's mostly mental.
And how are you feeling about heat number 2?
I mean, it just gets harder and harder, right?
Exactly. Congrats, and see you in the next round.
Thanks.
Off you go. Well done.
It's great to hear from April. You hear about the jet lag there, and the fact that our bodies react in the same way, but mentally you trip yourself up. Have you felt that yourself, Candace, preparing for events like this?
Oh yeah, it's very difficult to travel around the world and then try to compete at the highest level when your body is like, what are you doing? It's 1 in the morning. Why are we paddling right now? You know, you notice April said it's not reflected in her heart rate, and she looked at her watch. Like I mentioned before, she's very scientific in her approach, and she reads all the data, tracks everything that goes in her body, all of her activities, and that's, you know, it's worked for her, that approach, to be very diligent, and it's paying off. Now we have heat number 2 in the red jersey. We've got Chloe Walkerdine. I'm sorry, wait, different shot there. That's heat 3 getting ready, I believe. Juliet.
Yeah, I think that is that's Juliet. Yeah, Juliet. So we have a standby lane. The following heat is getting ready, but this heat we have Chloe Walkerdine. We've got Choi Ji-won, who is one of the top Korean athletes. She won the wild card into London and the rest of the tour, so she'll be following the full tour this year. She did very well in London as well. And then Yang Hyo Ju, also a local wild card for this event. So great to see this lineup of women, and Chloe, like you said, back in action, which is great to see.
Yeah, Chloe's on the new Blackfish. Here they go, and they're off. Let's see who can jump over this inshore hole. Oh, all the girls with a nice start. Chloe got a little bit of a staggered stance there, and a little bit wider on her way to the buoy. Some of these other athletes, wow, this gal in white here, Choi Ji Wong, is doing fabulous. Really high rate, getting really low in her strokes, a lot of power in her legs. Great drone shot here. Notice her paddle is a little bit lower, really low into that stroke. Paddling most of the way there on her right side. She's going to need to switch over to her left side to do this turn. Here we go, swing back. Nice footwork there. She's doing it was a heel side pivot, added a little bit of poke for the crossbow. This is where it gets tricky. And and this is where you got to watch out. You got Chloe's board on the back of the second rider, which isn't really technically sound. You want to watch out for that. You want to make sure you hold the nose up so it doesn't impede the other rider's progress. These girls are really going for it. I'm excited over here. I haven't seen really this Korean contingent of female paddlers, so I'm like kind of chomping at the bit over here watching these gals. They're really coming in close. A little bit of surges from these swells, you can see. And a nice, big, wide approach around that big buoy. You do not want to run into that buoy. It will knock you off your board. Nice and smooth pivot turns. Chloe's got a little bit of work to put in here if she wants to get in that first or second position. And these girls are powering through. Anything can still happen at this point. There's not a huge gap in between any of these athletes. Really great stroke technique here. Reaching far, using her whole body, getting dynamic with the leg movement. And
Yes.
let's see
So
if
you know, like you said, Candice, it's great to see this new talent joining the field. You know, that's why it's so important to come to these regions of the world where, you know, there's a whole new scene bursting open here, and so many talented and excited athletes wanting to step up and do battle. The leading lady here is the leading lady in Korea at the moment. She did very well in London, like I said. I think she's definitely a bright light for the future, and is pushing hard. So it's great to see this new talent come forward.
really exciting to see. And how old is this gal in white here?
I don't know exactly. I believe in her early to mid 20s, maybe. But
Okay.
her and she trains with the leading Korean men. They run a center right on the Seoul River, the Teju River, I think it's called.
Nice.
Um,
And she's gonna ride her
so,
board all the way up there. So you gotta ride your board all the way up to the sand. There's no rocks, so it's okay to run the nose up to the sand. That way you can hop over that inshore hole. Oh, we got another. See, Chloe's gonna run right over it. Oh, almost. Well done, ladies. Well done. Wonderful. Well, congratulations to competitor in white, Choi Ji-won. Is that correct? That's a competitor in the white jersey. Really representing Korea well in that second heat of round one for the women.
yeah, I think Troy definitely got some confidence after her finish in London. It was definitely something that's given her confidence coming into her home break. She knows it well down here in Busan, even though she lives up in Seoul, which is about a 5-hour drive away. She knows Busan very well, and like you said, can navigate things like the exit onto the sand to avoid the holes. But it's such a beautiful, friendly beach here. There's no rocks, no real dangerous elements of it. Just those holes in the sand that can cause problems if you're not expecting them.
All right. Got a little replay here. See, Chloe just barely made it over that. All right. All right, we got heat number 3 getting ready. I'm going to see this one. We got in the blue.
We're just
Park
actually,
Ho-yeon.
Candice, we're just going to jump down to Holly, who is with the winner, Choi Ji-won. So
Okay.
down to you, Holly, just to get that in before we get underway with the next heat.
So I'm here with winner of heat number 2 for the ladies, Chi-won. Chi-won, tell me how it goes.
많이 좀 긴장했어요. 왜냐하면 여기가 제 홈타운이니까 생각보다 너무 많이 긴장됐어요.
And how was it against, some of the international ladies? Was it difficult?
네, 외국인 분들은 확실히 가지고 있는 파워가 많이 좋은 것 같아요. 엄청 강해요.
Congratulations and good luck in the next round.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great to see Choi, who did a great performance there. Yeah, it's great to see the talent coming through. Sorry, Candice, I interrupted you there.
Oh,
We
no
confirmed the
worries.
win-
No worries. I mean, we're doing this across the globe right here, so we're doing the best that we can. And I after that interview, I'm like psyched. I'm like, man, I wish I was in Korea right now, paddling with that girl. I want to meet her. She seems awesome. I don't know how we would really communicate, but high fives, shakas, and a couple bumps around the buoy. Sounds pretty fun.
Smiles and good vibes are the best communication method in the world.
So I'm wondering if all these girls there's no boards here. Maybe they're examining that inshore hole. I don't know where they've gone, but maybe they're getting themselves ready for this next heat, figuring out the conditions. This is a very international heat we have coming up. I believe on the starboard we're going to have Park. Is that the correct name? Park. And then Juliet from Argentina and Caroline Kutzel from Denmark. So pretty exciting. Juliet is Argentina and the United States, represents Argentina at the ISA World Games, but she's a dual citizen. She's now living in North Carolina, lifeguarding in the summers, training really hard, and trying to give this whole professional sub-athlete racer thing a go. And she's doing a great job. Currently ranked 2nd in the World Tour. And here we go. The girls are getting ready, fired up. Athlete in blue is choosing to wear a leash in this short sprint, which is a little concerning because, you know, a really quick finish, and that's going to cost you a little bit of time when you got to take that off at the very end there. But safety is also important, and if she's comfortable using the leash, then that's a good call for her. All right, here we go. They're getting ready.
There we have a start.
There is the horn. See who gets a good skim. Ooh, nice. Ooh, getting a little hung up. Caroline got a little hung up with her paddle. It's going to help Juliet get out ahead. You want to get that whole shot. You want to get out to that buoy first. Caroline has the inside track here, but Juliet is about a half a board length ahead. And according to the APP rules, the turn. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens as these girls get closer. If someone is... Yeah, now Juliet is a full board length ahead, so Caroline does have to let her get around the buoy cleanly. Very nice. Great footwork from these gals. Great little sweep as she ran back up there for Caroline. Sweeping the paddle across the water is really going to help you have a lot of stability to run back up the board aggressively. And you look here, Juliet's getting some nice bumps. She's riding the dugout blackfish, which is a great actual downwinding board as well. So I think that board is helping her. Got beautiful cross steps there. Nice turn. Running right back up the board. Very agile, Juliet. She does a lot of balance work on those balance training boards. Really powerful. Getting nice and low with her quick blade paddle there. And Caroline making it on those buoys clean as well. And here we go. We have our other paddler here, the local paddler. Nice. Nice pivot turn. Taking a few strokes, looking up towards the next buoy. And Juliet leading this heat, absolutely dominating. Coming into the final turn here. Really high stroke rate. Getting really dynamic in her legs. Beautiful cross step. Sweeping around the buoy. Running right back up. And she is not going to let off, I know that much. She is going to push it all the way to the end. She wants this. She really loves sprinting. There's Caroline. Nice turn there from her. And Juliet is going to keep pushing.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Caroline, obviously from the Casper Steinfath crew of powerful sprinters. She's definitely developed that fast twitch stroke that does her really well off the start. But Juliet has just been getting better and better this year. As she opts for the long run there.
Ooh, come on, girl. Run over it. Oh, almost. Way to go, Juliet. Way to go. She was far enough ahead that she was able to pull that off, but you want to watch out for that one in the later rounds. Way to go, Caroline. Looking pretty stylish in her cool shades there. I love to see style from
Caroline disappointed not to be able to be riding her Kona Sport boards. I know she's got a great partner over there in Denmark. I know they were sad also that she was not able to compete on that board this weekend. She was delivery issue, but putting on a great show nonetheless, and she's definitely going to be improving through the rounds here. We are very competitive partner Yun. So she'll go through the repachage. A great performance in the race. And we'll be going into the first round of the men's in a second here, as we've got a lot of action to come. I'd like to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to Photoshop, our media partner for the tour as well. They follow closely and are great supporters, as they are of the sport of stand-up paddling in general. So great to have them involved. And a big thank you above all to KAPP. So Candace, this is a fantastic organization locally here in Korea that is working with us to build the sport here in Korea, really create some foundations, create foundations everything from international to national events all the way down to schooling and programs that way. So I think it's an exciting future for the sport here, and with these guys pushing and the support of Seonggu and Busan, there's an exciting future over there for sure.
That's awesome, Tristan. It looks like we got a replay coming in here, finish line replay. There's Juliet's finish. And now we're going to move on to some of the men's heats.
You know, on the Juliet subject, I think it's been exciting to see her really find herself this year. I feel like in the first event, she was starting to find herself, and it was a big confidence boost to finish third behind you guys in Santa Monica. Because when she came to London, she had a whole different attitude, and I felt like there was a lot more confidence in her racing. And I think we're seeing it again here. Like you said, it was pretty flawless buoy turns and really seamless battling there. It was a great performance, a great showing for the first event.
Yeah, Juliet is dedicated. I'm actually been helping her out a little bit, writing some of her training programs, and she is on it. She does every single workout and then some, along with working as a lifeguard and doing everything that she can to make it happen. So she is really just really super proud of her. It's really cool to watch her. She's making this dream happen on her own. She's got support, of course, from Team Infinity and QuickBlade, but she's working hard. She's lifeguarding and hustling and doing all the things that she can so she can go on tour, and it's really cool to see her come into her own. I remember she caught my eye when I was watching the webcast for the New York event a couple years ago, the one that I wasn't able to go to. I was injured, and I'd never seen her before, and I watched her in the surf races, and I was like, wow, who is this girl who is so agile on her raceboard in the waves? And she definitely caught my eye, and I've been a fan ever since, and it's just really cool to see her. Her dreams are coming true, really. She's doing it, and like you said, that first event in Santa Monica was a huge confidence boost for her, and let her know that, hey, like, I belong here, and she most certainly does. So way to go, Juliet. Super proud of you. And it's going to be fun to see how things go, how things heat up in these next couple rounds, because when it comes to that running type of start, she's really good at that. April's a really great sprinter as well. Are we starting?
Yeah, sorry, Candace. I'm gonna jump in here. We got Holly sitting with Juliet to get her perspective from that first round heat.
Thank you, Tristan. So we're here with Juliet Duheim. She's the winner of heat number 3. Juliet, how did it go?
It was awesome. Felt super good. I love sprinting, so yeah, I'm just stoked, and all my glory goes to God.
And you were against Caroline there, and she's an amazing sprinter, but you seem to absolutely smash it. How was that?
I don't know. I just gave my all. Caroline is very fast too, so yeah, I don't know. I just did my race, and I'm stoked.
Let's look ahead to the next round.
All right, let's do it.
Good luck.
So definitely seeming quietly confident there, Candace. What's your takeaway from Juliet's attitude there?
Juliet is she's in the zone. She's paddling with a lot of freedom. I know that she is a woman of faith, and she, as she said, she's giving her glory to God, and there's a lot to be said when you're powered by a source that's greater than yourself, and she's rolling with that today, and it's working for her, and she's calm, she's collected, she's confident, she's done the work, and she's trusting in the process, and she's trusting in the one that put her on the start line today. So it's going to be really fun to see how she fares through the rest of the event with a platform like that. So here we go. We got our first round of men coming up. Who do we have here, Tristan?
And the atmosphere here, Candace, just so you know, the atmosphere down here is fantastic. They're announcing each of the guys as they walk up to their board. So really, really cool atmosphere, really engaging with the local community here and the people who have come from all over Korea to watch this event. So here we go with heat number 1 of round number 1 of the men.
Is that Dan Miller, the Canadian, in the white jersey? I'm looking for this heat sheet here. I'm trying to find who do we have out here, Tristan?
We've got Dan Miller from Canada. We've got Shrimpy, Shuriaraki, and we have the local hero here, who actually did very well in London. Too, Han Sung Ho. Really one of the leading lights here in Korea. Actually leading the pack for sure. As we got a great start there, flying start there. Actually, Dan Miller did great start line there.
Really great start. Dan has. Oh, and then Shrimpy is just powering ahead. See how I'm surging ahead. Board length after board length. Dan Miller has been really going for it this year. He's coming into his own as well, doing all the races, traveling all over the world. He's also a doctor, which is pretty cool. a professional making the dream happen, as well as Shrimpy is definitely going to make it to this buoy first, but both these guys are hot on his heels. Nice strong turn, paddling the blackfish there, probably 21.5 inch. Ooh, and we got a double down. 2 riders in the water. You got to stay agile, you got to look ahead. Looks like the rider in blue is on an extremely narrow board, and both of them are on dugouts. So when you fall out of a dugout, it does a lot more work to get back in. I am pretty old school, partial to the flat deck. Closest it can be to a surfboard is what I try to ride. Look at Shrimpy with that really beautiful turn, whipping that board around, and Shrimpy's on a flat deck blackfish. So it makes the footwork a lot easier, makes the turns around the buoys and the turbulent water a lot easier because you have a little bit more space on the deck to move around. But that was a nice turn there, nice pivot turn from the rider in blue. And Shrimpy is coming in hot. Looks like he's definitely slowed down his rate. He looked back behind him. He knows how big of a gap he has with the competitor coming up behind him, and he knows that he can kind of let off. He's not going to completely slow down. He's going to, stay alert, but he's going to slow down enough so he can start to get in a little bit of a cool down, flush out some of that lactic acid from that really, really flying start that he had there. Shrimpy's an excellent waterman. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say Shrimpy is an excellent waterman, and he's taken a bit of a Kai Lenny approach to his board selection. He's, instead of aligning with a single brand, he chooses the equipment that's going to work best for him in certain conditions. We see him always sprinting on the infinities, and to great success, as we saw in Santa Monica and all over the world, actually in Carolina last year as well, as we see him easily take the win there. But in the distance, he prefers his dugout NSP, it seems, obviously depending on the water conditions too. So really making the choice. He did a crowdfunding operation to follow the tour this year, and has huge support in Japan. So it's exciting to see him make it over here to Korea and once again put his name in the mix. The finish line in second.
And you notice there that Shrimpy actually got off his board really early as well, and that last finish shot they showed, there was a little bit of a wave that was breaking, so I'm guessing that the tide is dropping, and that sandbar before the inshore hole is starting to become a little bit more shallow, so that's why the riders aren't riding their board all the way up to the shoreline now, because their fin can get stuck in that sandbar. So that's probably why Juliet also jumped off early, because that sandbar is getting more shallow. You can see there the waves are starting to break a little bit more. So as the tide drops, it gets shallow, the waves are going to break, but then you still see that nice dark line there right past the gentleman standing on the beach, and that's that inshore hole. That inshore hole is going to stay there all day, so they're going to have to actually, as the tide gets lower, it's going to maybe get a little bit more challenging on the start, because they're going to have to jump over it with their board and then maybe even run a little farther on the sandbar before they're able to mount their boards. We'll see how this how the tide affects this throughout the day, but I'm guessing that that's probably going to happen. You're going to see riders have to hop over it and then keep running, maybe a little bit of a bunny hop with their boards, which is where you stand next to the side of your board and you push it a little bit farther into deep enough water, and then you hop on. So we got heat number 2 coming up, and we got a little finish line replay here.
Pretty calm, collected, and relaxed. It's a cool little asset that we brought to the table this year. I think we're getting ready to get down to an interview with the winner of that heat, but waiting for word on that. But yeah, Shrimpy is he's really a phenomenal athlete. He's got the full support of his father. He travels with him everywhere. They come from a long line of watermen. As we're gonna throw down to the beach now to speak with Shrimpy himself. Take it away, Holly.
So I'm here, unsurprisingly, with Shrimpy, who just absolutely smashed that heat. Shrimpy, how was that?
I'm very good. First one is very good start. Yes.
Did you feel fast?
No, I'm relaxed. But next heat is I do my best.
So you kind of took that one easy to save energy?
Yes, yes.
Okay, well done, Shrimpy. See you in the next round.
Thank you.
Well, Candice, Candace, I have two takeaways from that interview. One, he's quietly confident in saving himself. He's clearly not even stepped into second gear yet. And secondly, his English has improved dramatically in the last 6 months. So that's exciting to see too.
Yeah, it's really cool to see these young athletes. And, you know, for me, as I travel the world, I know one language. I know English. And actually, I do speak sign language. But I see these athletes like Shrimpy, who's, you know, obviously speaks Japanese, learning English. Itzel Delgado knows like 5 languages. Some of these athletes, Juliet Duham knows multiple languages. I see these athletes traveling the world, and it's really cool to watch them grow, learning to communicate with each other, and it's pretty neat. We got four athletes in this heat, so these heats are getting a little fuller. Who do we have here? What's our lineup, Tristan?
We have Rai Taguchi, who is really in phenomenal form this year in London. He was on fire. Unfortunately, didn't get through to the final, but he did get through to the final. He did really well in the sprints, but the distance not as well as he could have done. And there's our start. In this heat, we have Rai Taguchi, Daniel Hasulyo from Hungary, obviously a big name in the sport already. And then our 2 Koreans in this heat, Jin Hee Lee and Gung Woo Kim. So they're looking to take on some of the faster paddlers in the world. Rai, you can see that really fast twitch paddling style. Daniel as well, going blow for blow there.
Yeah, Rai Taguchi in the red jersey is going to make it to the buoy first. Looks like he's paddling a sprint. It looks like we've got Daniel is on the All-Star. And a little bit wider of a turn there. Rai's got.
Rai's typically rides for SIC Maui. He's one of their leading riders, their leading global riders. So unfortunately, those boards didn't arrive as with the other athletes. But he is, riding the starboard replacement today. But definitely supported very well by SIC Maui, and does a great job of representing them across the globe.
And this heat is still, these guys are still pretty close. Now that rider in yellow decided to do a backstroke turn, which really cost him a little bit of time there. He was catching up and then got into that nice pivot stance, but kept his paddle in between himself and the buoy, which is, it's not going to allow you to make forward ground, but he's making up a little ground here, but you definitely want to consider trying to continue with forward movement every time you're going around these buoys and graduating from those backstroke techniques. And Rai is not leaving anything up to chance here. He is really pushing out of that turn. You see him, he's put in a really hard surge there. He knows what Daniel is capable of, and this finish is getting tricky. Now you see these nice little swells though that they're getting a chance to get a little help from. I'm sure they're appreciating those after these.
Exactly, and I was going to say, Rai, he doesn't want to finish in second. He wants to make sure he finishes in first. That gives him a better seating and placement on the start line for the next heat. So definitely playing it strategically here. Daniel's safe, moving on to that semifinal round. Daniel also just a phenomenal athlete across all disciplines, but has become a really strong sprinter in this last while too.
Yeah, so we have 2 different approaches there. One rider stopping outside the one coming all the way in. Now, for everyone at home, Tristan, can you explain the advancement process? How many people are making it out of these heats? Is anyone being eliminated from this first round? What's going on?
Yeah, I'll get into that in just a second. We're going to throw down to Holly, who is now with the winner of that last heat, Rai Taguchi. So take it away, Holly. Let's hear from Rai after his first heat there. Looks like we might be waiting a second.
And I'm here with the fastest paddler in the world, it seems, Rai Taguchi. Rai, how was your first heat?
Thank you. This heat is a good heat. Next heat, more fast.
And Daniel Hasulyo, you were neck and neck. Was that tough?
Yes, he's tough man, but he's tough. Sorry.
Well, do you want to say something to our Japanese listeners, Rai?
彼はすごい速い選手で、 ロングディスタンスが特にすごいめちゃくちゃ速いんですけど、スプリントは僕の方が自信があるので、はい、落ち着いてレースができました。ありがとうございました。
Congratulations, right? See you in the next round.
Thank you.
So it's great to have the two Japanese leading lights at the moment, and I do sense a little bit of a kind of changing of the guard going on. Connor alluded to it in London, saying he was always the young kid and he was getting kind of the new guard coming after the Dave Kalamas, the Jamie Mitchells, the Danny Chings. And then he said now he feels like he's the old guard passing the torch on to, the likes of Rai and Shrimpy, who are just kids comparatively and really pushing the envelope.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir with that one. I definitely changing in the guard, and it's Connor's still one of the young ones. He's in there, but yeah, he's a husband and a father now, and he's not 14 doing the Molokai for the first time. He's a seasoned veteran, and he's got these young guys that are hungry to beat him. He's got the target on his back, but I'm sure you've noticed he's still hungrier than ever and even more focused than before. I think Connor has a new level of maturity where he's able to really hone in on the disciplines, sprinting specifically, that he wants to focus on. And we got heat number 3. These guys are getting ready. We got Itzel Delgado all the way on the right there on the red board. Looks like we got Claudio Mika in the yellow. Sorry, in the white.
He's in white. Yeah.
In the white. And nice, fast skin. This is going to be a tough heat between these two guys. I'm not sure who our other two competitors were, but Claudio with a really strong stroke rate. Short paddle, really using a short paddle that allows him to get really powerful and low. He's also on one of those sprint boards, so he's lower center of gravity to the water. Itzel's on a Blackfish flat deck. Let's see, nice, strong, powerful turn. So it's a backside turn for Claudio, frontside turn for Itzel, backside turn for our third competitor, and our fourth competitor making around the buoy, and Claudio is really trying to run away with this one early. Notice his leg position. He's really getting deep and strong, as wide as stance as he can too on that board. Really dynamic in the legs. There's so much power in that part of your body when it comes to paddling. People think, oh, it's all upper body and arms and back, but no, your legs are so important, and I really like what I'm seeing in that dynamic stance that he has there. And he's slowing down his rate a little bit. Either he's getting a little bit tired or just getting into some of those big, deeper strokes. Maybe he's getting a little more comfortable with his position right out in front here. But I know that Itzel is not going to let up for a second. Whoa, nice big kind of hop step back to the tail, really smooth.
Yeah,
he's
Claudio's
running away with this.
Claudio definitely established himself as one of the leading sprinters in the world. He's one of the fastest guys, certainly in Europe. He's one of the really fast paddlers. He's been a few years now really focused on the sprints. A lot of guys becoming more specialized in one discipline over the other. Casper obviously being another good example of that, and Caroline Kunzel. But then you got the likes of Itzel, good all-rounders. A little bit taller stance, you can tell with Itzel, longer paddle, as you said, and different stroke rate to Claudio.
Yeah, and Claudio's blade looks a little bit bigger too. So from some of these sprint specialists, you'll see a larger blade, shorter paddle, get lower to the lower center of gravity, more leverage on that big blade when the paddle's a little bit shorter, and it's a little easier on the shoulders as well. So really fast heat, guys. Well done. Our final competitor coming in here. You can see how shallow that sandbar's getting.
Yeah, it is. We're going to get ready to pass down to Holly in a second. As you say, the action's heating up. We're going to see a lot more action today, but let's pass it down to Holly to see how Claudio feels about this one. No, sorry. We're not quite ready for us. We're going to get Claudio up there in a second. But definitely, Claudio is one to watch out for. And yeah, and Itzel Delgado, I feel, he had such a great event in Santa Monica where he played such a smart race in the distance race. It was a difficult race. There was fog. There was the complication of boats going off. It was a really complicated race. But Itzel stayed to his plan. He created a plan. He created his GPS strategy, and he ended up being the smartest man on the field and won the race. And I don't feel that he really got the glory he deserved for that performance there. So it's really great. Such a great ambassador for the sport too.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because there was a lot of mistakes that happened.
Let's jump back on that. We're going to throw down to Holly, who's now with Claudio Nika, and then we'll come back to that subject.
Okay.
Down to Holly.
And I'm with Claudio Nika. Claudio, you looked very fast in that. Was that your all, or are you saving some energy for the later rounds?
Yeah, actually, I was managing a bit my power, so I didn't push everything. But we got some beautiful condition out there, some bumps, some choppy water, and yeah, I really like the condition, so looking forward for the next round.
And do you think it's all about the first buoy, getting to the first buoy?
Yeah, I mean, if you get first, for sure you have an advantage, but then you have other two, so, and it's a different turn, so it's always hard to be in the front, so let's see who will win.
Congratulations and see you in the next round, Claudio. Well done.
Thank you, everybody.
Great to hear from Claudio there. The battle's not over till it's over, but there's definitely some confidence there. He likes the conditions. He's feeling good. Be great to see how he ends up today. But going back to that, Candice, you were going to say something about that race with Itzel. Obviously he put on a groundbreaking performance there, and it was a really big moment for him. And I felt like he should have had some more spotlight on what he achieved at that race.
Absolutely. I was so proud of him. It takes, to just say it candidly, it takes a lot of balls to go away from the lead pack, stop, look at your GPS, and decide, you know what, I'm going to do something differently. And what he did that day was he out-watermaned them. That's what I told him straight up. I said, you know what, people can complain and make excuses all they want, but in my opinion, he out-watermaned them that day. He used his navigational skills, and it's really our responsibility as athletes. When we're out on the course, it's not anybody's responsibility to tell us where to go or how to get there. Yes, you're headed in the right general direction, but they can't, it's not the boat's job to say, oh, but you'd be a little better off if you tacked this way or that way. That's not their job. That's our job as athletes. And Itzel did a really great job of that. I remember coming across the finish line, and he was there, waiting for all the gals, and he told me that he won, and I was so elated for him because he worked so hard. I mean, I've been watching him work so hard, just humble grind, putting his head down, and I'm just so proud of him, and he deserved that win. He won. He followed his navigation, and he got to the finish line first, and a win is a win. So way to go, Itzel, and nobody can take that away from him. They could try to dilute it all they want, but it doesn't mean they'll succeed.
Exactly, Candice, and just one more. While we're on the glory train of Itzel, just seeing him grow as a human as well, and just becoming such a humble and great ambassador for the sport. We did some things over here, and just how eloquent he is in so many languages, how he represents so positively the sport. It's exciting to see. As we got another, this is women's repechage heat. We have Chloe Walkerdine. This is battling back into the mix. It's one spot available. Two spots available. So it's Junji In, Park Ho Yun, and Chloe Walkerdine. So the Australian coming up against two Koreans to get back into the mix.
All right, here we go. Chloe's on the outside. Looks like she's got a quick rate, really quick rate. Paddler on the white here. She's powering through, really strong, really strong. Now, is this our paddlers that what places from the previous round? Are just first automatically skip, or does first and second from the previous round skip?
Exactly right. It's actually the first two from the previous round, and then it'll be the first two here. So it'll just be one rider getting eliminated in this heat, and then we'll be moving forward from there.
So these are our third place finishers from the previous round that are coming up against each other right now. Okay. Exactly. So these ladies make it around that buoy pretty smoothly. These girls are getting a little bit hung up, but everybody's on their boards. It's really important to pay attention to what's going on ahead of you. Sometimes if the one competitor goes wide, you need to be ready for that so you can push out around ahead of them. Chloe's got a little bit shorter stroke rate, some of these other gals, you notice their boards are getting stuck next to each other. When that happens, you want to make sure you look up and then you find the path away. All right, here we go. Nice little pivot turn here for Chloe. Taking a few strokes to make this turn. Looks like the water's getting maybe a little tiny bit choppier as the day's waking up. Here we go. Nice, clean pivot turns.
I was going to say, Candace, even though it's miniature bump, it's still bump. You can see they're definitely getting benefit and getting some glide from those little chops, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if I'm reading this right, it looks like the wind is a little bit onshore. Is that correct? But the wind is coming from onshore there, right, Tristan?
Exactly, yeah. So the wind's blowing into the beach. It's providing that little textured water and giving them that little bit of bump. It's very little wind, but it's enough to create a little bit of advantage for people coming into the, on the inward bound stretches.
Yeah, I've been noticing the actual swell bump has been benefiting them, but I'm seeing a little more surface texture in addition to this bump, which will create more bumps for them and swells for them to catch. Makes it a little bit challenging on the buoy turns when you have that little side chop. And here we go. We've got Chloe coming in, really increasing her stroke right there. If you see that, she is hungry. She's like, I am making it out of this heat. A little bit shallow of a stroke. Looks like she's maybe using a similar paddle that she would use for distance. That's a little bit longer of a paddle. She's navigating this sandbar really well. You can tell the sandbar actually, certain moments the water fills up, and so you can clear the sandbar, and certain moments it's kind of sucking out. So I think that's why some athletes are opting to go over it. Some athletes are stopping before it and running across it because they have to. So well done, Chloe. First place, second place, our rider in red. Not sure the name of that athlete.
So great performance there by Chloe Walker-Dean, scraping her way back into the main event. And I think we had, let me see who we had there. It was Jin Ji-in who finished it there. So great performance from her. So that's the end of the women's repechage, into the men's repechage now. But a lot more action to come here. Obviously, then we'll be getting into the more intense rounds as we start to get the top guys against the top guys. So how intimidating is it? Obviously you had some pretty intense heats in Santa Monica when you come up against the likes of, we saw Soren Preston, who came onto the scene flying in the sprints there as well in Santa Monica. How does it feel coming up young and old and friends and competitors? What's the vibe on the start line?
The vibe on the start line these days is great. I mean, our sport, there's so much more camaraderie on the women's side of things. I think in some of the early years, the women didn't get as much credit across the field,
Candace,
right? You got an interview
Candace, I'm
coming up?
going to have to back to that question. We're going to throw down to Holly.
Okay, we'll come back to it.
Winner of that repechage, Chloe Walker-Dean.
I'm here with Chloe Walker-Dean, and she just won that amazing heat. Chloe, that was awesome. Could you feel those women chasing you?
I could, and I actually felt really bad because one of them landed on my toe accidentally and I yelled at them. So I'm so sorry to whoever that was. I didn't mean to upset you or anything like that. It was just a natural reaction, but they were amazing. So.
All in jest, right?
That's exactly right.
And are you looking forward to semi-finals?
Yeah, I am. It'll be good to get back out there. It's a fun weekend. Just stoked to be paddling in some beautiful waterways.
Congratulations and good luck in the semi-finals, Chloe.
Thanks, Holly.
Back to you in the studio.
So very,
way to go.
Chloe Walker-Dean going back to the main event there with that win. Going back to what we were saying, Candace, of that vibe on the start line.
Yeah, it's great. We have such great camaraderie with the women these days. I think, many years ago, there was more heated rivalries. There was, women weren't always getting a lot of credit. A lot of times in the media, it was the winner that would get attention, basically. But now, when there's recaps of these events, it's, the top 3, the top 5, there is, more equal prize money, and the sport has grown to where it's not just one particular person winning every single race. It's a field getting mixed up all the time, and I think that everybody has found their place and realized there is room for all of us. And so it's just great to see all the different ages. All right, here we go. We've got Dan Miller going head-to-head with, a local rider. He went to his knees, lost his stroke. That's going to cost him. He's going to get back to his feet. It's going to really take a big mistake at this point, even though it's the beginning of the race. It's going to take a big mistake for Dan to lose this heat. So, you know, got to watch out for, I don't know if he got his fin caught on the sandbar there or not, but he's going to need to work really, really hard if he wants to catch up with the likes of a really strong, fit Dan Miller here, who's working his way back, working on his turn.
It's been great to see a few more on the tour this year. Dan, obviously the leading light over here in Korea, and he was in London and Santa Monica as well. Tim Oliver was supposed to be in London, but he actually had an injury, so wasn't able to participate. He'll be back for in Alicante. And then Maddie LeBlanc as well, who was, again, supposed to be in London and here, and unfortunately due to a family emergency had to miss these events, but she'll be back in Paris and Alicante as well. So Canada making its way up the ranks and making its presence felt.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see. Maddie, she's a great paddler. I got a chance to see her up at the Carolina Cup. She was doing great there, so hopefully I'll catch her on tour somewhere this year. And here's Dan powering his way through. Dan's been getting so much experience this year. He's come to SoCal and done all of our kind of off-season winter races, which are great, even though, you know, those are our small community races, but you're racing the likes of Danny Ching every weekend when you're doing that. So he's getting as many races under his belt as possible, and it's really showing. He's continuing to grow as a paddler, and he's a pleasure to be around too. He's just a really, really happy guy, supportive of the sport and the other athletes, and it's really, really great to have him as part of the SUP community on the international level, and here when he comes to California to visit us in SoCal.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. And Dan's just been taking the opportunity to soak in the different cultures that we go to. You know, I know in London he was really overwhelmed by the whole experience, not least because it was just such a historic moment in British history. So I think he took the advantage of it and really enjoyed the experience. And now here in Korea, he said the same thing, just to go the other side of the world within a few days and be having this experience at this beautiful beach in Hwaeali. You know, it's an incredible experience for all the athletes to come here. And honestly, the KAPP here, our partners on the ground, fantastic people, and they just take such good care of the athletes. You know, picking them up from the airport, welcome these when they arrive, hotels. You know, it's really the red carpet experience. And this morning's opening ceremony was one to remember. Honestly, it was a cultural experience. It was choreographed to the T, and really nice to be a part of. So, you know, it's been a beautiful experience here in Korea.
That's great. I'll have to make sure I get there next year. I wanted to comment on something. I was noticing Dan when he was finishing there. We're going to go to interview.
Just before down to Holland to get the Dan's interview. Let's hear from the Canadian.
Let's do it.
And I'm here with Dan Miller, who's come all the way from Canada for the Busan SUP Open. Dan, how was that heat?
Oh, it was a good heat. Had a great start, just like in the first heat, and I carried it through to the finish. It felt really good, and there's a nice little wave, a little bit of wind to help us when we're coming into the beach. It was a fun heat.
And your opponent had a little bit of a wipe out at the start. Did that make you feel slightly more comfortable in that heat or not?
Definitely. As soon as I rounded that first buoy and looked back, I knew I could take it a little bit easy. And, you know, it's such a short heat, it's such a short course that I just paddled hard as if it was a warm-up for the next heat. Semi-finals, here I come, baby.
Semi-finals, here he comes. See you next heat, Dan, and back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Holly. Great to hear from Dan there. Yeah, Candace, over to you.
Got a great attitude. I love it. Semi-finals, here we come, baby. I was noticing when he was finishing that leg, his stroke rate and depth changed quite a bit because he was reading that sandbar, kind of slowing down the depth of his rate and allowing the water to fill in and push him over that sandbar rather than having to stop, dig too deep, catch his paddle in the sand. So really reading the water well and taking advantage of that little bit of movement of water over the sandbar, timing it. He obviously had plenty of gap, so he could afford to do that, but he didn't have to stop and run. Really reading the water well there. So we got another head-to-head heat here. Who do we have here? Oh no, we got 3 riders here, and it looks
It's actually
like
3 riders. We've got Kane DeGraw from Australia, Gun Woo Kim from Korea, and Jin Hee Lin also from Korea. So this is an important heat. The winner goes through to the next round, so not both. So it's a sudden death situation for these guys, and we've got to start.
all right. This is an important one. Let's see who gets to their feet the first. Oh, we got a fall. That sandbar, along with those little waves, if your nose of your board gets sideways at all when you're going out at force, you're going to go over the handlebars. So you want to make sure as you're running out, everything is lined up. So we've got rider in red with clearly a few board lengths ahead from Australia.
And
Scooting back.
yeah, this is Kane DeGraw. We actually had multiple Australians in this event, but unfortunately, Kaylin Lockhart, who's one of the real powerhouses, up-and-coming Australian powerhouses, rides for NSP. Unfortunately, he went down. Well, he got tested positive for COVID on arrival here in Korea, as did the Danish young talent Christian Andersen. So, unfortunately, both of them have been in quarantine and unable to attend the event, which is heartbreaking for both of them. I know they flew a long way to be a part of this event, and super frustrating. And funnily enough, actually, Rai Taguchi also tested positive, but because he's got a recovery certificate from very recently, he didn't have to. He was able to get released from quarantine. But unfortunately for Christian and Kaylin, they didn't have the same kind of documentation, and they were unable to be released. So unfortunate for those guys.
Bummer. And Cade here, Cade, correct? Let's see. He's that turn around that buoy. I don't know if you noticed, he caught a wave kind of into the buoy and then had to pull off to turn around that red buoy. That was a really technical maneuver that he pulled off there. And doing really well here. I believe this is the boyfriend of Chloe Walkerdine, and he trains her as well. They're training partners. So pretty cool, traveling the world together, competing on the world tour, encouraging each other. And looks like he's probably going to take this heat win.
Yeah, Kane's a new face on tour, as you said, boyfriend of Chloe Walkerdine, traveling partners and life partners. But great to see him here. Didn't have a great event in London, but looking forward to kind of have come back here, and they're easily going through back into the main event. So great to see Kane still in the mix, as we'll be going to the. We'll be going back to the main event with the women's semi-final. So action is going to start heating up here, as we're going to see some pretty dramatic action.
All right, so was that the completion of our men's repachage round, or
that's it?
What
that
are
was
we
the
on to
completion.
next here?
We're going to be going straight into the semi-finals for the women, and then back into the semi-finals for the men. Then the consolation final for the women and men, and then back again for the finals.
All right, so we're making our way through this day pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly, and now we're going to throw down to Holly, who is with the winner of that heat, Kane DeGraw.
Thanks, Tristan. So I'm here with Kane DeGraw, who just won that repachage for the men. Kane, you look quite comfortable in that heat. How was that?
Oh, you can never underestimate the Korean paddlers here. They're weapons in itself. So, wasn't confident. I just knew I had to rely on my training and all the coaching that I've had, and just go from there.
And then what is your strategy looking forward? Have you saved some energy?
I haven't exactly saved energy. I had to put in a lot of work in between the last race in London. Wasn't a good result, so it's been a lot of training days in between then, but I'll just give them all.
Congratulations, Kate, and see you in the next round.
Awesome, thank you.
Back to you guys in the studio.
I absolutely love that interview. That is some really hungry new energy coming out of Kate there. And anything that Australians say just sounds really cool. He said they're weapons in themselves in this cool Australian accent. I'm like, wow, I'm like captivated by this guy right now. So it's pretty cool to see, you know, no rest days, got to get back to the grind, training in between. Like that is a hungry up and comer right there. I'm excited to see what he's going to continue to do on the world tour. And here we go. We got another round of women's going here. We've got April coming up against, looks like Caroline in blue. And who are our paddlers in yellow and white there, Tristan? Help me out.
We have April in red, Lim Soo-jung in white from Korea, obviously. Caroline Kunsel, as you said, from Denmark in blue, and in yellow, Junji in. So, you know, great lineup of women here. It should be a great battle. Let's see what happens.
All right. So these are semifinals here?
These are semifinals, yes, that's correct. So we're coming to the exciting end of the competition here, and there should be some great action in this heat. I'm interested to see how Caroline Kunsel fares against these two ladies here, or these three ladies here, with April Zilg, obviously the one to beat in this heat.
What's the advancement of this, top two?
It's top two, yes. So it's top two from here on out, as we'll be deciding the the final leaderboard from the next few heats. So it's going to be an exciting showdown, this one.
And third and fourth, are they out from here? Is that all right? Here we go. These ladies are taking off. Strong run, skim to their feet. Ooh, this is going to be a great battle. We got Caroline really pushing the cadence there. You see, April is a powerhouse. She can afford to have a little bit slower of a stroke rate because she's so strong, but Caroline is not letting up here at all. Both of these riders are on boards that they're unfamiliar with, and they're doing a great job making it look real good. So April is going to switch to her left side as she comes around the blue, making her way back on her board. Nice little low angle J-stroke turns there, hopping her way back up. Caroline with a little bit sharper, tighter of a turn, but April is making her way across. She has the right of way to take whatever line she wants. It's an interesting camera angle here, so sometimes it's hard to see from this view how far the rider in front really is ahead. Let's see how April takes this turn here. Nice little pivot turn. Caroline, so it's a backside turn for April, front side turn for Caroline. Her rider in white is about to make that turn back there.
Definitely a good front side turn from Caroline there. She almost could have taken the inside line there, it feels like, but didn't quite manage to push through.
Yeah, that was a really beautiful front side turn. That's a harder turn to do, is a front side turn, especially around a big buoy like that in the turbulent water. Because when you're step back and you're doing a little front side pivot, yet inside rail wants to catch on the water, and it's always harder to do a turn when your paddle's on your heel side, like April's doing right now. So it's a much harder turn here for April than it is for Caroline, and this isn't necessarily over yet. If Caroline really pushes it in here, we could possibly see a change in first and second, but first and second make it through the next round. So I think both of these ladies are going to try to play this safe. If they were smart, they would maybe just slow it down and conserve a little bit of energy too. A little bit of a wave coming here. There's definitely a wave actually. Caroline is about to catch. She's going to want to navigate this one nice and smooth. Don't want to have a wipeout. And she's going to take it all the way to the shore. Nice job, ladies. Making that look real smooth. Way to go, April. Way to go, Caroline. Nice work.
So here 1 and 2 there. Unfortunately, the two Koreans getting knocked out of the mix there, but not entirely unexpected with Caroline Kunsel getting counted as one of the big sprinting talents in the world at the moment, and April Zilg, well, without saying, with the dominant performances. As we see our last
final rider coming in here.
This is Junji in. So, great performance from Junji. Unfortunately, bowing out of the competition at this stage. And we're going to throw down. We're going to get ready to throw down to Holly. Yeah, we're going to get ready to throw down to Holly, who is with the winner, April Zilk.
And I'm here with, unsurprisingly again, April Zilk, who just won semi-final #1 for the women. April, how was that? Caroline was right on your tail there. Did you feel that? Could you see her?
Absolutely. Caroline's one of the best sprinters in the world. So.
And have you saved some energy going into the final, would you say?
Always. Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the conditions. Are they working for you?
I'm on an unfamiliar board, and it's definitely throwing me off my game.
Ah, so maybe Caroline could sweep in for the win.
Yeah, I mean, it's anybody's game in these conditions. My board didn't make it, so I've never been on this board before. That combined with jet lag and brain fog, you never know.
Well, you look amazing on the water, April, and good luck in the final.
Thank you.
Back to you guys in the studio.
Awesome. All right. So that's if I'm going to read into that interview a little bit. Obviously, April is physically capable of pretty much, she could take out all the competition if she wanted to. And I don't want to say that arrogantly. Everybody else is great. All the athletes are trained. But I'm sensing, she even admitted it, her confidence is kind of down, right? She doesn't have her board. She's tired. She's jet lagged. So we're going to see how that plays out in the next few rounds. She's definitely going to have to fight what's going on in between her ears because, at the highest level of competition, it's not so much about the physical. At this point, it's about the mental game. So April's going to want to pull it together. I know she can. She's capable of it. I'm sure she'll snap out of it by the time the finals come around. We want to see her put her best effort and not be hindered by any sort of doubt because she's winning all her heats so far. So she can do it. I'm sure she could do it on a board that she's not familiar with. She's doing it so far. So here we go. This is another important heat here. Top two ladies are going to make it to the next round. And we've got Chloe and Juliet and our top Korean paddler as well in the white.
Yep. We've got Choi Ji-won here. She'll be wanting to represent her country and make it through to the final rounds. Juliet obviously looking in great form, and once again a fantastic start. Looking really comfortable in this event.
Yeah, look at her, board lengths ahead. Way to go, Juliet. Nice, smooth, strong, confident turns here. She is really hungry. She is more focused than I've ever seen her. You can just see that look in her eye right now. She's laser focused on her next buoy, not wasting a single stroke, not looking down at her stroke. She's confident in her technique. She knows what she's got to do, and she's executing.
Yeah, I think that's the difference with her, is definitely that confidence, even with how she's turning. She seems relaxed and confident and pushing really hard. So great to see from Juliet. And there's Choi Ji-won, who is putting on a great performance here. She's definitely going to want to try and make it through to the final rounds here, because she needs to represent her country in this all-important Busan SUP Open.
Yeah, these turns these ladies are doing around these buoys are beautiful. That last turn from our rider in white was flawless. So great to see Juliet looking so strong here. Really using her legs, really strong legs here, using those legs in the turns. Beautiful cross-stepping, sweeping her turns to the side, running back up the board. She's probably not going to let up too much here. Maybe once she's getting much closer to the shore, but I know she wants to secure this position. Recently, a new addition to Team Quickblade, Juliet, which is a, highly coveted paddle team to get on. So she's, I think, paddling right now with the new T2 paddle. Really looking great in her technique. Taking her time over the sandbar there. She slowed her rate down, let the water fill in, and she's going to jump off, have a nice smooth finish. Always nice to have a smooth finish to build your confidence going into the final rounds. Way to go, Juliet. Nice work.
And there's
There you go.
Troy
It looks like our
G1
local rider.
doing a great race there and managing to get through to the final heats here. So it's great to get Korean representation and definitely worthy. Like I said, a great performance in London too, so it's not unexpected. And Candice, you'll see the amazing setup there is here at the event village in Gwangali. It's absolutely beautiful and amazing. A lot of people around today. A lot of people got engaged with yoga, with all kinds of activities across the event site, and we got the APP pool there. So there's all kinds of stuff going on here. But we're gonna pass down in a second here to Holly with the heat winner, Julia Duhaime. Let's hear from Holly.
So I'm here with winner of semi-final number 2, Juliet Duhaime from Argentina. Juliet, you looked heads and shoulders above the rest then, and you look so strong. How are you feeling out there?
I am just so happy to be here. Honestly, I love this kind of racing. I just don't know, not much to say except just I'm gonna give my all and excited for the finals now.
Are you conserving energy for the finals? Has this been part of your strategy?
Kind of. I'm honestly just trying to see how the course is working, how the waves, how the ocean is working today, and now I'm going to give my all in the finals, that's for sure.
Well, you look like you're seamlessly paddling in those conditions, Juliet. You really do. And well done, and we'll see you in the finals.
Thank you very much, Holly.
Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Holly. Great to see Juliet. She's in a great mindset there. She's feeling confident. She's very aware of her surroundings. Really likely the most phased by everything going on here and seemingly unaffected as well.
Yeah, she's in a great headspace right now. You know, this is her first time really traveling the world to compete, other than, you know, going to those ISA events, right, with her country, Argentina, that she represents. And so she is in a place of just a lot of gratitude. I can see that. You know, she's enjoying the process. She is taking every little piece of it in, you know, all of the experience, and it doesn't look like it's the difficulties of traveling are really getting to her. She's just she's enjoying it. I don't think she has as much pressure on herself, right? Because sometimes it's easier to be the hunter than it is to be the hunted. So she's kind of in hunting mode right now, but she's looks confident and calm and collected. And here we go. This is going to be a really great heat. We got Shrimpy and Itzel. And who's the rider there with the white jersey in the yellow? We got Kate in yellow, and then a rider with the white jersey. Help me out with this one, Tristan.
Yeah, Han Sung-ho in white, so he's the Korean's big hope here. So he'll be wanting to get a finals berth here, so it's an important heat for all these athletes. As you can see him getting really low and ready for that start. There they go.
Nice, off to a blistering start. Shrimpy really propelling himself forward. You notice he has a big staggered stance there. He gets super low. Then when he switches sides, he takes that one step up back to a regular parallel stance. Looks like him and Itzel are pretty much side by side still. This is going to be an interesting turn because they both need to make sure they get around nice and smoothly. Now what's going to happen here, because Itzel's next to him, if he can stay with him, he'll have the whole shot on the next turn. So sometimes when you have this three-turn course, it's actually beneficial to be on the outside if you're side by side for the first turn, because then that takes you into the second turn with the whole shot. This is going to be a really tight race. Neither of these guys are letting up, but they also want to get around this really smoothly. Shrimpy's still with him, so now Shrimpy's going to have the whole shot to the very final buoy, that inside turn lane, but looks like Itzel is pulling ahead a little bit. They are both clearly in advancing position from the other riders. Now they just want to have a nice clean race.
It seems like Shrimpy's got that very low down, fast acceleration stance, so really quick off the starts, really quick out of the buoys. But Itzel's got a bit more flow and glide to each stroke. He lets the board do a lot of the work for him. That's what it seems like from what I'm seeing in this race.
Yeah, two different approaches. Itzel definitely has a little more glide per stroke, and Shrimpy really uses a lot of his legs and his springiness and power to get that board propelling, especially off the line, right? Uses a lot of leg power to try to get ahead in those early stages. Here we go, a little bit of wave there for Itzel. He's going to take this heat out. He's going to feel good about that. That's going to give him some confidence going into the finals. And Shrimpy's going to come in second. This is going to be a good final round for these guys.
For sure.
Really
well, I
fun
think
to see.
that would definitely be that'll be definitely a confidence booster for Itzel. He was looking really calm and collected there. Definitely a lot of glide. It seems like he was working less and gaining more ground as opposed to Shrimpy seemed to be pushing harder, but not necessarily getting a tough glide and push into positions. Unfortunately, Grand Hero Han Kung Ho not able to get through that heat, so he'll be going into the consolation final, which means they'll be determining positions 5th through 8th. But a great performance also from Kane DeGraw. Great to see him at this stage going through the consolation finals as well. But a big congratulations to Itzel, who won that heat confidently there, and Shrimpy right behind him as we get ready to get down to the beach with Itzel. One of the characters on tour, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got to say after that heat. And we're ready to get that word from Itzel. It's down to
And I'm
Holly.
here with Itzel Delgado, winner of semi-final #1 for the men's. Itzel, you look like you really turned it on for that race. Were you conserving energy?
Well, that was a hard heat. Thank you, Holly. Muchas gracias. Las competencias están duras acá. Muy feliz de estar en Corea. Ver acá cómo se está desarrollando el deporte. Le están dando con todo. Thank you, everyone. Korea is amazing, and I'm super stoked to be here. Thank you to all my sponsors, to my family who's supporting, and yeah, arriba Perú.
And how are we feeling about the final?
Vamos con todo a la final. Let's go.
Go get it, Itzel. Back to you guys in the studio.
I love it.
think,
Look at that confidence.
Itzel and Juliet definitely riding the positivity train there, representing South Africa extremely well. Great, both of them great characters for the sport.
Yeah, they're both really just in a place of being super grateful. I see that exuding from them today, and gratitude is said to be one of the most powerful emotions. And you ride that train, you're going to go fast. This next heat is going to be exciting to see. We have Claudio Nico, Rai Taguchi, Daniel Hosuyo, and Dan Miller. This is going to be a feisty one, I have a feeling. And these guys are going to be getting ready here soon. Got Dan Miller in yellow. We got
Daniel Hosuyo
in the blue. Rai Taguchi in the white. And in the red, Claudio Nika. Getting super low, really strong on this. Skim's going to be important. All to their feet. Little bit of a tiny little wave to get through, but they are pushing. Here we go. Let's see. Right now you got Claudio Nika. Looks like he's got that inside line in the red jersey. He's pulling ahead. You can see that he's pulling ahead of the rest of the pack. It looks like Rai Taguchi and Daniel Hosuyo are still neck and neck. This is going to be a tight turn. Oh, this is a little bit of a tricky one. Oh, that was a mistake. Daniel's going to have to really get up quick there. He was a bit aggressive on that outside line with all that bump and that super narrow board. You can't get too close there. It's going to cost you. Let's see, Claudio Nika slowing down his stroke rate, but you see he really stabs the water. He has a lot of power. He's a very strong, muscular paddler. Uses a lot of that down power in his stroke. Ooh, you got to watch out for those big buoys there. They are not forgiving. They will bounce back and knock you right off your board. Nice little crossbow pivot there from Daniel Hosuyo. And Rai is not letting up. He's really trying to push the pace with Claudio. Notice.
It definitely seems like Claudio had an amazing start. Rai was playing catch up, and now Rai seems to have the second wind. Not that it makes a difference. They'll both advance through if they can stay on their boards here. because they've got a healthy lead, but a couple clean turns. Right, a little bit of a bobble there around the corner. Not used to this board. Obviously, he's on a borrowed board, not on his regular SICs, but putting on a great performance nonetheless. Claudio, a starboard team rider, so happily at home on his regular board. But Rai looking strong and big acceleration here.
Yeah, trying to get into a bump there. He's pretty excited. There it is. That's going to expend a lot of energy. So this one's for pride, I'd say. Here we go. Pushing it hard. Way to go, guys. That's a lot of energy to propel yourself on a bump like that. That's a little bit of what I call manifest destiny. You know, making it happen. So he's excited. He's fired up. And I think with that, he's trying to make a little bit of a statement going into the final, saying, "I'm not going to just let you take this heat. I'm gonna take it."
Definitely, that was a statement-making finish from. He didn't want to let Claudio have that one. He's chasing Claudio to the finish. And while it didn't make a difference to the overall result, because obviously they both go through the final. From a confidence perspective, Ryan knows he can catch him, and for putting some fear into Claudio, I think it's definitely going to make him second-guess himself in the final. So that was maybe a mind game of Rai Taguchi to get that advantage on the closing stretch, and maybe to make a statement to the other guys, that made it through the final, that he's going to be on them and he's not going to give up. So it's exciting to see. We're going to get ready to throw to Holly in a second here, but she's getting set up. Sad to see Daniel Husuyo go out. Yeah, so sad to see Daniel go down. He's such a talented paddler, both sprint and distance. But unfortunate bobble there. He literally did the overroll of the first buoy. Huh?
Yeah, that was a little tricky, and both him and Rai were in between the other two paddlers, so there's so much turbulence off the line. By the time you get to that first buoy, your legs are, there's definitely some fatigue setting in, and then you got to step back on a 14-foot board and whip it around that turn. You got to play it really careful. If there's another paddler right next to you and you need to correct with your paddle, you can't get it in the water to brace, and then you see him, flip over. So he's going to be probably disappointed with that result, and he's going to definitely be looking to make up for it in the distance for the overall, which he is a very strong distance paddler. So it might, mix some things up. We'll see what happens tomorrow for Daniel.
Yeah, I think that he's such a seasoned competitor now. I do remember when he first came onto the scene back in Germany years and years ago, and it's funny to see him now to be one of the more mature paddlers on tour. So exciting to see there's a wealth of new young talent coming into the sport. A little bit of a changing of the guard, but these guys still super strong at the prime of their career. So, but we're going to actually go down to the winner of that last heat, Rai Taguchi, who came from behind to take the win and move on to the final. So let's hear it from Rai. Over to you, Holly.
I'm here with semi-final number 2 winner Rai Taguchi. Rai, you were neck and neck with Claudio right to the last second. It was very exciting to watch. Do you think that's going to be your main competition in the final?
This race very good race, and plus Claudio chase, good chase. I'm win, very happy. Thank you.
And how are you feeling about the final? Good?
Good.
And let's say something in Japanese for our Japanese listeners.
最後どうしても次のヒートファイナルに1アップで行きたくてラストちょっと頑張りました。ありがとうございます。
Epic, well done, Rai, and see you in the final. Good luck.
Thank you.
Back to you guys in the studio.
So
Thank
awesome.
you, Holly. Great to be Rai there.
여자 순위 결정전 선수 소개가 있겠습니다.
I'm a fan of the sport as much as I am a competitor, and it's really exciting to see guys like Rai get so excited. You can just see that smile on his face. Winning the semi is an accomplishment, and I think that's where all that push came from at the end there. He wanted to win that thing, and he's going to take that confidence with him to the final. So here we have our women's consolation final coming up. So this is going to determine our 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th place overall for our sprints. And these placings
Yeah,
will be
we have.
combined with the distance for the overall at the end of the day? The end of the
Definitely.
weekend,
So,
sorry.
the APP always celebrating the overall result here. We think it's important to be able to excel across two disciplines and not become too focused, but at the same time, obviously celebrating individual sprint and distance champions as well. And when it comes to the overall, being able to count each discipline rather than the overall event result allows people to excel in certain disciplines across certain events. Some people preferring the ocean races, some people preferring the river races, and some people preferring the flat water sprints. So it enables the best paddler at the end of the year to be crowned world champion. I think that's really the focus and the goal.
Yeah, it's really it's great to see it. It really mixes things up, you know. You can see some of the paddlers that are good across both. They end up finishing higher in the other work overall because they're strong, and then you'll have a sprint specialist, you know, take a win by having done pretty decent in the distance race, and it works out in their favor at the end of things. So it's a pretty cool format because, you know, you're not done after one race. You got another shot. And tomorrow, the distance race. Tell me about the length of that, Tristan. What's that going to look like for our competitors?
Yeah, so it's a very different race than we had in London. London was a kind of a point-to-point race. We started at Battersea, had like a short loop around one of the bridges, and then it was a really, really fast race down the Tower Bridge. The distance was about 12 or 13 kilometers, but the tide was so strong. It was spring tides, going at about 4 or 5 knots. So the guys were already fast, but they were, you know, in the double digits and flying down the river. This race will be a very different race. It's a 10-kilometer race. It's a lap course. There'll be a lot of variables. We'll have this little onshore breeze likely, and it'll be each lap is 3 kilometers, and then there's a final lap of 1 kilometer. So the idea being that they can kind of stretch themselves over the 3 miles, and then to the final lap, it'll be like a sprint. A lot of strategy, a lot of turns, 21 turns around buoys race. So full distance race. And it should be an exciting one.
Wow, 21 turns tomorrow. That's gonna be great. Lots of action. That's gonna break up any possible big draft packs too. That's gonna be a fun one to watch. I look forward to that.
Exactly. You know, I think one of our goals here at the APP is to really celebrate the well-rounded athlete, the athlete that combines paddle power, endurance with surround buoys. I guess I just got word from
beautiful shot.
We got a review of the turns, so just sorry for the delay in getting this consolation final under the way. We just got word that they are doing a video review of some of the turns in the last heat.
Okay, so we're probably reviewing that first turn where there was a wipeout, is my guess, with Daniel Husilio.
Okay.
And so, look at the camaraderie here. These girls hugging it out before the start line. Looks like Chloe's maybe shivering there. We got the other competitor trying to warm her up a little bit. That's pretty cool. It's neat to see male and female athletes together, but women are just different, right? You don't see the men snuggling each other to warm each other up before a heat. And it's just, it's pretty sweet to see.
What's funny, it's funny you should say that right now, Candace, because on the other end of the scale with the men's there was some intense action as we saw in that last heat, where Claudio and Rai were battling for position. There was a call from Claudio that potentially he got pushed on that first buoy by Rai, but it was deemed on video review by the race director's team that there was no interference. So everything went forward as it stands, but it shows there's a lot of tenseness nonetheless. There's a lot of watching. There's been some incidents in the last few months across other races where there've been some questions around certain calls, and I think everybody's on high alert. Fortunately, we're able to provide full video review of all the incidents that happen on the race course, so it enables us to come to a good conclusion if there is indeed any interference or not.
And that's really great. It's really cool to see that all these rules are being implemented for right of way, because for many years in the sport, in the early years with these buoy turn races, it's kind of a free-for-all, right? And now athletes have gotten their skills up, and at the highest level you should be able to control your board smoothly, not land it on someone else, not shove it between their legs. And in every sport, there is right of way, and it's just great to see that that the APP along with the race directors are implementing the necessary steps to make sure that the sport is fair and that athletes are held to good sportsmanship.
Absolutely,
Right,
and
looks
as
like
you know, Candice, yeah, I was just going to say, as you know, Candice, you want to still have really competitive racing. You don't want people to be holding back because they're scared of breaking rules, but at the same time, you need to have sensible rules that enable real decisions to be made. And we saw a lot of situations in London where the right calls were made, and it wasn't anything controversial. But there was and there we have a start for our consolation final for the women.
And it looks like they're so far pretty close together. Right now I can see Chloe maybe pulling a little bit up into the lead, but they're actually a little bit of a cluster. Actually, our paddler in red now. Paddler in red is powering forward.
This is Lim Soo from Korea.
And right behind her you have Yang in the white jersey. She's going to go for a crossbow turn here. Not really moving her foot positioning at all, which is a difficult turn to do on a 14-foot race board, to do that crossbow turn without stepping back. But I think maybe with the turbulence on the ocean, she's playing it safe there, doesn't want to take too many steps, have a fall.
진출한 선수들은 지금 바로 스타트 라인으로 이동해 주시기 바랍니다.
Yeah, it's great to see Korean paddlers really making their presence here. As I say, different styles of turning here. A little bit tentative, not wanting to fall in, not wanting to lose her leading position there. Lim Soo. Doing quite wide turns, not so much doing those sharp turns like we've seen with Juliet and April, but kind of nursing the turn a little more, a little bit, gets the job done without falling off. Is obviously incredibly important when you're in a critical moment in the race.
Yeah, you don't want to fall. Sometimes it's better safe than sorry. And you're going to see with all the paddlers, they'll always approach the buoy with the paddle on the outside of them and the board, except, there you go, she's going to switch back to her left side and then do the crossbow to the right. So difficult turn there, a little bit of chop. Paddler in white is making that switch right at the last minute. She's got a nice crossbow pivot. That's when you take a step back and you do a little bit of a pivot and a crossbow with one step. So all of these riders, regular footers, doing that crossbow pivot on that last turn there. Paddler in red's going to be happy with this 5th place position. It's a 5th place finish overall in the sprints for her. A little bit of wave there. Let's see how she navigates this. Well done. 5th place goes to her, and that puts her in, a good position for the overall.
Lim Soo Jung taking the win there in front of her home crowd, and in 6th place we got Yang Hyo Ju. So finishing in 7th, and then Chloe Woody from Australia in 8th. So this consolation final essentially establishes the positioning through to 8th. And our final Korean athlete, Jun Ji In. A great performance from all these ladies. Really exciting to see balanced participation, in the open field as well between men and women. There was a lot of women participating, a lot of excitement about the sport, about the inclusivity and the accessibility of the sport here in Korea. So I think it's an exciting sign for the future.
Yeah, this is really, really cool to see the local contingent there in Korea. Exciting. I remember I went to my first international APP race was Spain in 2015. And
we have some time.
I remember seeing all of the
When you speak to the
girls
camera.
over there and just being so excited.
Ready?
You know, the whole European contingent. You know, I'd traveled quite a bit, but never to Europe, and everybody would come to California every year for the big final race of the year, which was maybe the Battle of the Paddle or the Pacific Paddle Games. But I remember my first APP in Spain, going across the country and seeing all the girls in Europe that were killing it. I'm like, wow, how neat to see how fast our sport has grown, you know, because I've been doing it for a pretty long time. And to see these women all over the place. And now Korea, now they're in Korea and they're crushing it. And I'm like, I remember when there was only a couple of us, and now I'm like, whoa, it's just really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool to see the women's field grow in the way that it has, and super inspiring.
Exactly, Candice. And speaking of inspiring, we're going to throw down to Holly with Fujung to tell us about that last heat. Now finishing in fifth place.
Thanks, Tristan. I'm here with Sujong, who just won the consolation finals for the women. How was that, Sujong?
약간 좀 힘들었어요. 지금 컨디션이 조금 약간 안 좋은 편이었는데 그래도 저희 최선을 다한 것 같아서 기분이 매우 좋습니다.
No, it's okay. It was not my best condition, but I did my best, so it was okay, and happy for that.
And what was it like to compete against some of the best women in the world?
좀 어떤 경기가 좀 가장 여성 경기로서 좀 가장 최고의 포인트라고 생각하시는가요?
사실 지금 여성 경기도 남성 경기 못지않게 굉장히 파워풀한 경기들이 많아서 사실 월드 랭커들의 그 비치 스타트를 보고 굉장히 좀 놀랐어요.
So actually so surprised at the beach start point. So compared to the athletes, they have the big power also.
Amazing. Well, congratulations. You can now rest up and let's say hello to our listeners at home. Hi.
네.
Back to you in the studio. Thank you so much.
So awesome.
Great to hear.
I mean,
In there, great performance from her. Represented my country well. We're going to get on with the consolation final for the men now. So we got another great lineup here. As we'll see, Daniel Josulio wanting redemption after that last heat of his. We got Kane de Groot, we've got Dan Miller, and we got Han Sung Ho. So definitely looking for some redemption. So what do you think, Candice?
yeah, this is gonna be a good heat. I know Daniel is probably gonna paddle this one a little bit pissed off, and when somebody paddles a little pissed off, it can be dangerous. So look for him to be extra hungry on this one. I think that he's gonna really put the pedal to the metal and not leave anything up to chance. He wants this. He wants this top spot in this heat. He's got the inside line to the first buoy, being all the way on the right side there. So, yeah, he's gonna push this one. We'll see. They're all getting ready, front foot on the line, waiting for the call from Anthony. Here we go, and they're off.
So there we have.
Little skim. They all had to kind of go on their knees for an extra second to get over that little wave there. Why don't you call this one, Tristan?
Yeah, just great to see these guys battling it out for 5th through 8th. Looks like Daniel Josulio, as you anticipated, he's looking for redemption here. Probably pretty disappointed with his performance in the last heat, just falling on that first buoy. But it allowed for that great finish with Rai and Claudio. So all in the name of great racing. So it's great to be here at the Busan SUP Open. A big thank you to all our partners for what has been an incredible event so far, and plenty more to come. We've got distance racing tomorrow. Candice, we've actually got Travis Grant joining us in the booth, who you know well and been racing with for many years. So it'll be exciting to get his perspective on the distance race.
Awesome. Travis is great. He's really awesome at breaking down technique, which I think is a really cool thing to see in a distance race. You get all that time on the webcast to watch these paddlers paddle stroke after stroke consistently. Obviously, we're watching them paddle here today, but there's so much going on, right? So many the bumps and the buoy turns and stop and go and stop and go. And in a distance race, I think it's great for a spectator to really learn about the stroke and watch these men and women over miles and miles and just ingrain into memory what they see these paddlers doing, and to have it be broken down by someone like Travis is awesome. So anybody watching today, I highly recommend getting on the webcast tomorrow and listen to what Travis Grant has to say about the sport, because he has a wealth of knowledge. And looks like Daniel looked over his shoulder a little bit there just to see where the next competitor is, and he is going to hustle here, try to catch a little bump in and widen this gap. He's going to take out this heat. He's going to feel good about that, and he's going to give it a hard push tomorrow in that distance race, I'm sure. He has potential to still, get up in that overall podium with this 5th place position, because he's a really phenomenal distance paddler. So way to go. He's pumped, raising the paddle in the air. Congratulations, Daniel.
Definitely, I'll echo that. Congratulations to Daniel, and also to our leading Korean, Han Sung-ho. A great finish for him, finishing in 6th place overall for the event, and a race to the finish there for Ken DeGraw, finishing in 7th place, and Dan Miller from Canada in 8th. So a great effort by all our athletes there, and a great race. Daniel putting on a good performance there.
All right.
And,
here we go. We're getting into it. We're getting into the thick of it now. We got the finals coming up. These gals have already paddled quite a few heats. There's probably a little fatigue, but still excitement setting in. And I know we got probably a post-heat interview we're going to have here pretty soon.
Hello. Yeah, we've got a post-heat interview coming up with our winner of that last consolation final, Daniel Jasulio. But in the meantime, we've got that beautiful view of Gwangali Beach. And it's great to have you on, Candice. It's been a lot of fun talking through this race with you. But we're going to throw down now to Holly to check in with Daniel, the winner of that last heat.
So I'm here with Daniel Jasulio, who just won the consolation final for the men's. Daniel, 5th in the sprints, and we all know long distance is more your game. So how are you feeling?
Well, definitely I came into the sprints today wishing to go as fast and as good I can. Last week in London I got 5th, this week here in Busan I got 5th. I was definitely aiming to finish in the 8th final, but 5th place gives you plenty of points to stay in the competition for the overall, and tomorrow I'm going to give my best to win that competition and hopefully get that overall title that I'm here for.
Excellent. That's good competitive talk from you, Daniel. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And we will see you tomorrow for the distance race. Back to
See
you guys in the studio.
Awesome.
Thanks, Holly. Great work. Yeah, go on, Candice.
No, I just, he's like, hey, I got the work done. It wasn't what I wanted it to be, but it's enough. And I'm going to go, and he's going to try to smoke it tomorrow. I know that for sure. Distance is his forte, and it's going to be a great race to watch from Daniel, because he's going to be extra hungry to really leave the field behind. We'll see what happens tomorrow with that. And here we go. We've got the women's final coming up. We've got April Zilg, our current world ranked #1, coming against our second place on the tour right now is Juliet. And Juliet's paddling really confident today, paddling really free. She's on a board that she's comfortable with. And then Caroline, our young sprinter from Denmark. And then our local contingent. We got their introductions going on. It always feels really cool as an athlete when you get a cool intro in a crowd. Something pretty unique and special about that.
So it's great to see the local crowd getting excited as the women's get called up to the start line. Juliet playing to the crowd a little bit there. I think she's definitely in that positive, happy-go-lucky mindset. And there's our local Korean ambassador, Choi Ji-won. Definitely a great athlete, both here in Korea, but also traveling to compete internationally as we're going to get ready for the start.
So given that our first turn is a right turn, the competitors that are on the right side of the line have a little bit more of an advantage being on that side of the start line, because they're a little bit closer to that first turn. Here we go. Strong run. They got a little wave to hop over there. A little bit of a bobble from each of them, but they're all to their feet. Sometimes you gotta propel yourself over that wave. Oh, here we go. Let's see what's happening. Here we got April. Oh no, that's a bummer. She just caught a little edge there, and she is not going to be happy with that. That is going to cost her this race. And this is really going to mix things up because these three gals are still neck and neck. Juliet is a little bit hung up in between the other two, and I feel for April right now. I just got a little bit of a gut punch in my stomach watching that happen to her, but she's going to recover, and she's still going to try to push it. Caroline looking back to see where her next competitor is. Juliet getting a little bit stuck on the paddler in yellow, and they're going to keep pushing. Caroline is kind of running away with this at the moment. She needs to keep her head down, not look back. You can tell she kind of wants to see where everybody else is. And these other two right here, they're getting pretty close to each other. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky turn here because they looks like they were pretty side by side coming into this one. April's struggling again, and definitely she's not going to be happy the fact that she is not on the board that she's used to riding. Having a difficult time with those turns. I feel for her there. Caroline still running away with this one. Juliet really working hard, trying to catch up to her, make a clear pass so she can get around this buoy. She keeps getting hung up on the paddler in yellow. And Caroline is going to really try to push. Let's see what happens here. Nice tight turn from Juliet. She's going to turn it on here. Let's see what happens. It's not over. Caroline does have quite a few board lengths. Yeah, she's in a really great position to take this heat out. Unless Juliet gets a little bit of a bump at the end here, it's going to be Caroline's to run away with.
Juliet looking as though she's kind of getting potentially. It could be a tight finish here, but Caroline's certainly going to hit the beach first. And looks like it's a done deal for our Danish competitor.
And this is really going to mix things up because Juliet's coming in second right there. Caroline with a first, and April's going to end up with a fourth place here. So that can be some consequence for the overall. Really great job for the local paddler. And I know that April's not going to be happy with that performance, but she's going to hold her head up high. She's a great sportsman, and she is going to, walk away with that one really hungry for tomorrow.
Yeah,
unfortunate to have a fall like that, but
for sure unfortunate there. And I can't help but think back to that last heat interview that we had with Candace or Holly had down on the beach. It seemed like mentally she got thrown off in that last heat. It looked as though she was quite strong actually paddling, and then sure enough that self-questioning proved to take her down in that heat with the fall, which is unexpected and unusual for someone like April.
Yeah, I think I'm not even sure if that was a mental thing at that moment. Maybe after the first fall, she was paddling strong. She was really surging ahead of the rest of the group, and it looked like just a little bit of an edge. I think that board that she was on today is a little less forgiving in being directional. It's a very directional board. So once you're propelling yourself one direction, she looks like she tried to do a little bit of what I call a slight corrective stroke, and it pulled her into the water and had an unfortunate wipeout and kind of unable to recover. And then on that second turn, she got, she was probably pretty fatigued from having fallen. Once you're going as hard as you can and sprinting and you have a fall, your body wants to tighten up, kind of get that, almost rigor mortis feeling, and it's really hard to bounce back to your feet and recover and get loose and strong again. So she's not going to be happy with it. I know that for sure. And she's really going to have to work hard to get in the right headspace for tomorrow, because she has all the potential to win the distance race and still have a great overall finish. So hopefully she can shake it off and get on the line confident tomorrow.
Definitely, and disappointing for April there, obviously, but she's had such a great year so far. This can be a throwaway result. It was unfortunate, obviously given the board situation on top of everything. But now we're going to throw down to the winner of our sprint division here at the Busan SUP Open. Let's hear it from Holly, who's with the winner, Caroline Kunzel.
And I am here with the women's sprint champion of the Busan SUP Open, Caroline Kunzel from Denmark. This is Caroline's first win on the APP World Tour. Caroline, how do you feel?
I feel amazing. This was a really difficult final, and I think everything happened all at once in the start, and then was just keeping the lead all the time, doing some good buoy turns and making sure that I wouldn't lose the win.
And you were right on April's tail in the semi-finals. We could see how much you want it and how competitive and hungry you are for the win. Did you know that you were going to take the win today?
I didn't know at all, but I felt when we started the heat that suddenly after we had the start, I got some energy and I felt that I could go all out. So exactly when she filled in, I saw my chance to push as hard as I could and see if I could, pull away, and I did it, so that was great.
That's awesome, and we know you focus more on sprints than distance, and as all that training, does it feel like it's paid off today?
Yeah, it really does, and the conditions were perfect. There were some bumps, some little waves, so I could read the conditions and use that to my advantage, so that was great.
And do you have anything you want to say to people from Denmark and people from home that might be watching?
I just want to say a big thank you to my sponsor, Kona Sports, and of course to my family and my other sponsors, Sydbank Bank, and all the other locals out there. So a big thank you, and of course to my boyfriend Jeppe for being a good manager.
Congratulations, Caroline. I'm so happy for you, and let's see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Back to you guys in the studio. Well done.
So an excited Caroline Kunzel there.
Good for her. She is just such a happy paddler. So stoked, and what a great result for her. She's worked so hard, and she was able to paddle against the odds of not having new equipment, and she prevailed, and good on her. So way to go, Caroline, making everyone at home proud, I'm sure. And here we go. We got the finals. This is going to be a good one. Oh, this is exciting. Look at this heat. This is stacked.
Yellow, Claudio Nica.
With yellow shirts.
There's a lot on the line in this heat. There's definitely a lot of excitement on the beach with the announcer hamming it up with the athletes coming to the line. But definitely four of the fastest sprinters in the world in this heat. Obviously Connor's not here. Casper taking a year off this year. We're looking forward to seeing him back on tour next year. But certainly Claudio Nica, one of the sprinters of the moment. Shrimpy, one of the fastest off the start as we've seen, and Rai putting on the performance he did in the last heat. And then of course Itzel, who is one of the most talented all-rounders at the moment and one of the young light, kind of promising lights, I think, for this year on the tour.
Yeah, I mean, all of these guys, all four of these guys are so hungry. They're youthful, but they've got some experience under their belt, and great athletes, great competitors, great sportsmen. Here we go. This start is super important, and there's little waves on that start. Claudio had a little bit of a wobble, but he was able to push off the bottom. Oh, and a fall for Rai. That's going to cost him. So we've got Shrimpy and Itzel getting out ahead. Claudio is making up some ground from that little wobble at the start there. This is already an exciting heat.
It really is, and he was able to get up so quick, Rai. I mean, he kind of got sandwiched between Itzel on the right and Shrimpy on the left. So unfortunate for Rai, but a quick recovery as he's right on their tails immediately, and Claudio obviously on the outside.
Look at Claudio making his way back into the mix. I mean, that's so much power to come up in such a short period of time. That turn there too with Itzel and Shrimpy was pretty flawless. There was room. So wow, look at Claudio. This is phenomenal. He was third going into the first turn, and now he's coming around. Ooh. Okay, that one's a little bit iffy. We'll see what the replay on that looks like. But look at these guys. They are neck and neck. It is anybody's race. And Rai Taguchi pulling up hard on the outside. He is not letting go. Look at this. Wow, this is phenomenal. so much power and speed, propelling himself past the pack.
이나밖에 레이스를 펼치고 있는 네 선수에게 박수를 부탁드립니다.
Just amazing race we're having. I don't even know how he got in there. Just,
I'm baffled right now. This is incredible. This is he gave everyone a glimpse of what he was capable of in that semifinal, and he just executed this flawlessly. I'm kind of speechless. It's hard to even commentate this heat because I'm watching this with my jaw open. Incredible performance from Rai Taguchi. Coming from a fall where his board completely flipped over in the beginning, last into the first two turns, bringing himself ahead of the pack before the final. Incredible. Wow, and that's going to be a photo finish for second, third, and fourth. Wow, that's the race you want. That's the final race of the day you want to see.
최선을 멋진 경기를 펼쳐준 정말 결승전을 보여준 우리 네 선수의 아낌없는 응원의 박수를 부탁드립니다.
Line for that finish between Itzel and Claudio for fourth. I think it was Itzel who got the lead there with a clean jump off his board. But wow, what a performance! Right, it looks as though it was all over for his final, and he was able to jump back on his board so quick and somehow accelerate beyond everybody else on the course to be able to catch up and take the win there. Just a phenomenal performance from the young Japanese athlete.
That was incredible. Is there any way we can watch that heat again?
I'm pretty sure we're going to queue up a replay of that heat. We'll certainly have that finish there. What a moment for the young Japanese athlete. He's been in the kind of offing for several years now, where he's sort of been on the edge of greatness, and he's definitely coming into his own this year. We saw him in London with Connor. It was a close finish. He came in second in the end in the sprints. So he's one of the fastest guys on a short course in the world. There's no question of that. And the performance that he showed today shows he's got true grit and determination, that never give up attitude that you need to have to be a champion. So I'm excited to see what he has this year, and excited to see how Claudio bounces back. You know, it looked as though he had that one in the bag potentially after that second buoy turn, but then it all changed going out to the outside buoy, and Rai was able to take the jump.
What an incredible race. That is one that I'm going to want to watch a few times because so much happened there. I mean, the bobble with Claudia, the fall from Rai, Itzel and Shrimpy going around those buoys side by side. Pretty edgy, but smooth. And wow, that was incredible. That was absolutely incredible.
Well, let's think back, Candace, to earlier in that heat. There was that inside buoy turn where Shrimpy and Claudio were really locked in. I think it was Shrimpy and Claudio that were locked in around that.
Itzel. It was Shrimpy and Itzel were on both of the turns. So the very first turn, it was Shrimpy and Itzel side by side, and then Claudio all of a sudden came around the outside to catch up. And then going in, he got in the lead going into the second turn. So Claudio led in the second turn, and Itzel and Shrimpy were again side by side, with Rai coming up behind them, still in fourth position. And from that short stretch, from the second buoy to the final third turn, I mean, Rai had to come around everyone and just supersonic burst around the pack. And went on the outside to do it into the final turn, which is even more difficult. You have to cover even more ground in that short of amount of time. That was scary. If I was a male racer that I knew I had to compete against Rai in sprints later on in the season, I would be like taking notes, and if he's in the heat with me, paddle scared. That's for sure.
Absolutely, Candace, I think you're absolutely right. And on top of that, the fact that he was not using his own board, he was jumping on for the first time, and to be able to put that kind of performance in it might have kind of went towards the reason he fell off in that early stage of the race, but he was able to jump on the board and then get back into the race and finish the way he did. That was just amazing. But actually, we've got an incident. We did have some judges review of those 2 turns, so it looks as though we might have a penalty towards one of the athletes. It won't go obviously towards Ride out of the picture for that point, but it'd be interesting to hear what the judges' feedback is on that. You know, Anthony Bella definitely going through the footage now to see what the result is. But yeah, what a heat! What a way to finish this sprint racing with something just really dynamic. There was everything in that heat. And those cluttered together blue turns, the fall off, the comeback. Claudio looking as though he had it, and then ended up in 4th, which is really crazy.
I want to see it again.
Yeah. We'll have full highlights later on. We're going to have a kind of analysis of it, so it'll definitely be something everybody can pour over on social later. That was definitely neat to remember.
You speak good English and good Japanese.
Yeah, well, Tristan, I gotta just say hats off to you. Way to go getting the stand-up paddle APP World Tour all the way to Korea. Really excited that I got to be a part of it today, even though I wasn't there with you guys. But I'm glad I didn't completely miss out on all the fun. I got to see every single heat, and so well done. I just gotta say, that's a lot. It's not an easy thing to do. You get put in the heat. People complain and all the time, and it's things aren't perfect, but you're doing it. You're doing a great job, and so just want to say well done, proud of you, and keep it up.
Well, thank you, Candice. It's very kind. It's definitely been a heavy few weeks. We had the major obstacles that we had in London, having to completely change the event.
You can translate English and Japanese.
So it was definitely challenging. But we got through that, and then obviously the date has been moved already because of the rail strikes.
Okay.
It was really a fortunate chain of events and that compressed timeline coming in here. And in Asia still, they've been a slower recovery from COVID than the rest of the world in terms of stricter guidelines and things like that. That has made Asia, obviously, unfortunately, we're missing a couple of athletes today because they tested positive. I think they're both well, fortunately, but neither of them are ill, but they tested positive. So unfortunate that these things are still happening. It's so challenging at the moment, but it seems like the world is slowly coming back together. And
Is that okay?
We're leading towards a really, really exciting 2023. And from the APP's perspective, to be back in Asia, in the stronghold here in Korea, and everything that's going on here, I think we're looking towards an exciting future and a lot of growth in the Asia region. And I think if that final is anything to go by, to have 2 strong Japanese athletes amongst the fastest in the world, Asia is going to be a region to contend with over the next couple of years for sure.
Yeah, I'm scared. That local girl was smoking fast.
She really was. But actually, Candice, we're going to go down to the beach and hear from Holly, I believe, who is with our winner, Rai Taguchi, after that incredible performance. Let's hear from Holly.
I'm ready. Look at the camera as much. Okay. I am here with Rai Taguchi, men's sprint champion of the Busan Sup Open. Rai has been on our radars for so long now. He's been so fast. Rai, how was that?
Thank you so much. I'm falling, but I'm come back. Everybody, I win. I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. Thank you.
So Rai fell in, and then we thought you were out the race. And then you just came back on and you just beat everybody. How did that feel? Was it hard?
I'm power, more. Japanese okay?
Yeah, okay. Let's say something in Japanese then, Rai, for our Japanese listeners. How was that?
最初落ちて本当にもうやばと思ったんですけど、もうここで負けられないなと思って最後頑張りました。本当にもうこの大会開催してくれた皆さんに、運営の皆さんとか、あとは出場してくれた選手の皆さんに本当に感謝してます。本当にありがとうございました。
Right, congratulations. How are you feeling? Give us one word.
I'm very, very so happy and fun. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with the distance race tomorrow. And yeah, well done again. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Holly, and great to hear from Rai there. Clearly over the moon with that performance. I imagine even beyond the win itself, just to know that you can dig deep and put on that kind of performance when it matters is pretty impressive, isn't it?
Good. Excellent. Good.
I mean, incredible, and he's clearly having a good time, and it's just really cool, really awesome to see.
Definitely, and I do have news from Anthony Vella, who after much video review, they decided to give a minute penalty to Shrimpy. So Shuri Araki getting a minute penalty in that race for inhibiting Claudio Nica. Actually, his board went between Claudio Nica's legs on one of those turns, and Itzel was on the other side of him. So it was a complicated moment. And these things happen in these really tight races where they're short legs and they come into the buoys and there's lots of guys training together. It's always that fine line between competitive racing and inhibiting somebody's progress. And unfortunately, Shrimpy there was kind of caught between the two. And I think he pushed through Claudio's legs. So unfortunately for Shrimpy, a minute penalty, but still a great performance to finish in the finals, and he'll be looking for a comeback tomorrow on the distance.
Yeah, so much happened in that heat. I didn't even see that part. That was like not even something that I didn't even notice that one. So, wow. I mean, it just goes to show that our race directors are doing a great job, and way to go, Anthony. You got to keep your eyes on every single buoy, and so many things are happening quick. So, great job, and it's awesome to see the rules being implemented, and I'm sure Shrimpy will bounce back and give it a hard one tomorrow. So, yeah, thanks for having me tonight, you guys.
Well, Candice, it was such a pleasure having you on this show. We really appreciate your time. I know it's late over there, so you can get some much-needed sleep in advance. But we really, really appreciate you joining us. For all of you out there, I hope you enjoyed the show. A big thank you once again to all our partners here at the Busan SUP Open. It's been a great event here. Please stay tuned for the highlights and much more coming this evening. And then, of course, tomorrow morning, the distance race featuring Travis Grant in the commentary booth with me to talk through the race. The start will be at 9:15 local time here in Korea, so set your watches with the different time conversions. I won't even try right now. But thank you for joining us. Thank you again, Candice, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good evening. Aloha.